脚高步160，
没错。
放下的石头。
谢谢 PCS。
我累了。
第二题，
黄宗正
在春季赛中，第一场比赛是2月29打 JT， 那第一次得到 MVP 是对上哪个队？
你吗？
黄正，
对，是我。
黄正，
黄正，
陈毅，3、2、
等下
1，
，BJD，
错，
黄正，
打妈
HK，
错，
黄宗正，
黄正，
国家呀，
错，黄宗志，黄宗志，罗华，
我很公平吧？你们按照顺序来吧。我发现你现在没有脏的人有点少。
没事，我等下就选你。
后面换位置，你的本名是
肖任佐，是哦。
好，我知道，我现在知道了。
第一题是我在季后赛打了15场比赛，请问季后赛的总击杀数为？
好，小任朵，
这种问题就是后面那句话。
对，这种话，然后你不当第一个，还没学乖。不是你要讲答案啊，你已经
31，
中了。
先猜就对了。
太难了，
真的假的？
这个一猜就对是谁？
我操！
谢谢你。
没有，这有作弊题，我觉得
这有内鬼啊！
这题有问题。
你们是说我跟 H 子串通好吗？
你讲什么？
他讲的，
你说的啊？
你哪来的灵感？
怎么可能？
猜啊！
第二题，春季赛中第一场比赛使用的英雄为？小任佐。加手部这题太简单了，加手部
简单吗？
太简单了。
简单吗？
答案怎么我也不知道。
我也不知道，其实我也不知道。
加手部，来讲。
雷克萨，
中了，
好准哦！答案不会是李欣啊？
对啊。答案你不会是李欣啊？
那个 Z 跟那个同学换个位置。
第一题是，请问我在春季赛第一场比赛中，第一个用的角色是谁？
陈毅，
我现在有点难选，那先选你好了。
雷尼克顿，
耶！
这是问题，
这是送分题吗？
这是问题，
这是问题。
第二题，请问我在春季季后赛中胜率最高的英雄为？
陈毅
，Uni Boy。
鳄鱼，
错，
阿文，
谁造？
谁造文？
陈毅，
后面它后面还有个数字。
哦，胜率。这个扣分了吧？怎样？怎么了？
好，先给你回答。
英雄布丁是
62%。
错，
陈毅，
你没有讲话，我举爽。
你也写吧。
100。
对，
你没输过，
到90几，
没输过
你没输过，
啊，没输过，输
天时一人一半啦。
是一半啦，
一半，
我多少
他自己知道。
你就贴这样啊，贴这样啊。
那你们脚不能分开哦。
我是啊，还是要恶心人家半点，
半点也
我好不容易旗鼓相当了，
至少你还有一半。
换你了，这样我也不会输一点的人。
第一题是在 PCS 赛季中总共打了4场比赛，总共玩过哪3场？薛家伟，我先了，你最快。阿奇尔，卡萨比亚，西格斯。好啦，对了，对嘛，算你懂我，简单啦，
算你
还是赢半点了，小王半点了，
好扯哦。
好，第二题，我在之前拍的那个 PCS 节目，什么多点同理心的惩罚，有一个护手霜开饼干，我一共开了几包饼干呢？谢家伟，好，我们从这里开始。
但其实你我都没看过，
张伦
4包，
错，不是问护手霜品牌吗？
下一个
3包，
错，
你去，
越来越低了
是不是我拍的？到底是真的还是假的？
对，3包是对的。
奇怪，我不是在隔壁吗？
还是你没去拍？开个玩笑，看来你赢汪东志了。
没有，他本来就赢我。我现在是2点半，
那个惩罚就留给他吧。
跟过无关。
不是，就是有，你知道吗？这表示等一下如果对一题陈昌 去就下去了，所以你要题目都给我答存上去就下去了，
翻盘的机会，你知道吗？
你都不要举手出来了，只要你们3个不要举，真的，你们3个不要举，他就出去了，对不对？
第一题是在春季赛第1场比赛中玩的LYB，这场比赛我出的第1件大装是啥？
陈章君，干嘛？我不知道
陈毅突然不知道了，
我要出无尽哦。卢登回音，
错，另外一个
陈章君，陈章君，陈章君，
陈毅，
GLP 800，
答对了。
啊，没事，做什么？
哇，就看见证友情的时候了，各位。
第2题，请问我在这个例行赛中死亡次数总共为多少？
这个太多了，你们也答一下吧。
我先吃了好啊。
可是我真的不知道怎么办啊
47次，
再少，上去，
请说。
38，
再少。
上去，
好，再让你来一次。少。
你这
太少哦，32。
错了。
来，公平竞争，公平竞争，
各位可以竞争了，各位可以竞争了。
陈章君
多少次？
14次，
再高，
你答一次啊。
不用喊名字哦。
陈章君21，
再低。
交给你们了，
陈章君
17到21。
上去，我来了，3个数字嘛。
对啊，
不要说没给你机会了，我们都给你了。
再给你了。
都给你。
18。
好啊，答对了。
哦。
好，所以你们算上你们身上的两边。
这18次哦，真的假的？
所以最赢的是谁啊？
那他3分，
他3分啊，
每次
半点也能领，
每次都赢，
半点
对，
是同
每次都赢。
他每次都赢。
45路，45路吗？
这
这是什么？
你们想知道吗？这感觉不是什么好东西。
啊，你说什么奖励？
那叫什么？奖励还不是好东西，还会是啥啊？
秀泰影城团体电影优惠券。
从现在开始我们集训1个月。不能去
这里有5个哎，那
这是我们一起去哦。
不是，我们好像会漏掉1个。
那你不要去哦。
只有5张，你知道吗？
那你
那就是
们去吧。
考验友谊的时候了
等。一下，我给你们一个机会，让你多赚一张。现在最输的是谁？
我啊，
是你。我们等一下给你一个问题，然后你觉得谁会猜对？你们先帮我把眼睛闭起来。
哦。
对。然后你走到他面前，我们先不给你看问题。
我们凭啥？
你觉得谁会猜对？你走到那个人面前去站着，
好呢？
直接选。你觉得谁会答对？你等一下出的问题。
我听到了。你就继续这边，
你就继续啊，这是你的脸票，你自己想一下。
等下给你1拳，我才不是王公子了。我已经听到了，他站在我眼前，
好，第一个你怎么做？
请你离开。
然后大家可以张开眼睛了。
我在 PCS 节目多点同理心中模仿了哪3个英雄跳舞？
记了1个，张军、
来说。
费德提克、沃维克，还有布里茨。
答对了。
所以你为什么觉得会是空月会猜对？
为什么不是谢家？我打一个脑袋比较好，你这样好。
跟他比较好。
好，最输的是。
陈章君，
谁？
陈章君，
欢迎。
如果这个世界上只能存活2个人，你会选择 PCS 的谁跟你共度余生？对
我会选择你。
，PCS。
啊！
你再给我这样！
你跳出去！我想说我这样子。
哦，我吐了，真的。
你空月好了，
那你跟空月告白一下，你问他愿意跟你一起活下去吗？
那我就选择空月，希望你不会离开我。
结束，我们这节结束了。
回答。
那如果是你，你要选择谁？
我要选择谁？我应该自己生活
不。行不行，
就要一个
他是不是一定要
当成食物也行。他要选我了，那我肯定是选他。紧急粮食，不然不是我选他，等下荒岛我太饿，我打不赢，我打这个直接杀掉。新的赛季，请大家继续支持 AHQ，
也请关注 PCS 粉丝团，
开启小铃铛。
拜拜。
拜。
我是中路 Kobe，
我是 AD 小 V，
我是打野哈娜。 我是上路瑞斯特。
我是辅助雀巢。那我们开始吧。Do you know me？ 那扣别的答案我都不能答哎，放弃。
第一题 ，KURB 在季后赛中获得了第一次 MVP， 请问上场的2场比赛中各玩什么角色？
廖明玉，我要回答，我有认真在比赛的。好，第一场是玩阿切尔吧，然后第2场是玩阿卡丽，因为被单杀被越塔，我印象很深刻。
你听说不是 MVP？
KURB 在季后赛中取得1胜1败的成绩，请问季后赛的总击杀数为多？无理。其实是这两只英雄的第一个字一样。
这两只英雄第一个字一样。哎，你讲错了吧？
它上面写
你说那个，你这个是第1题的提示，我听得出来。我要第2题了。
我赔3，8。
你要讲明。
对啊，要不因为我猜是6啦
，6到10，8
吧
，8到10。
要不因为我要猜，
看我了吧。
好了，
答对了。
不要欺负瑞斯特，让他猜一下。
没差，我没差。
换小 B，你跟他换个位置。
第一题是小 V 在春季例行赛使用了5次伊泽瑞尔，请问他第1次上场玩克里斯塔使用的造型为什么造型？
那个爱引导。
错，他是我偶像哎，使用偶像的。回答举手。
陈江，SKT T1 Band 的造型。
没错，答对了。请问春季赛的总击杀是多少？我知道你们不会，我先提示你们，我好心一点，50到100吧。
50到100，
有那么多？
陈江我要猜69，
有那么多
？69。对
啊。
50到69。
64。
哎，你很会猜哎。就这么刚好是64，
太强了，
那也没办法，给你一个贴纸。你，
请问季后赛最后一场玩了哪只英雄？
我现在许保远，我要猜赛特，是赛特吧？
对吧？是赛特啊，那就好了，贴啊。
给我贴纸，
太强了吧？
是赛特就给我贴纸。
和2把都是一样，
一直送头。
在 PCS 节目中，多点同理心中，雀巢曾被谁称赞觉得比自己队友还强？有没有在看节目啊？
啊，是哦。
答对了。哇！没有，你上次有讲啊。他之前对我跟你讲过，自吹的。什么自吹？
那你有看节目吗？
我有看吧。
看吧。
感觉我要下去了。
下去哪里？
惩罚。
一个贴纸。
不会有惩罚吧？
但是一样对输的不会有惩罚。
我跟你讲，
他不受伤是。
没关系啊，
他因为他真正
新人就是要接受惩罚。
我不知道
嘲讽的吗？
潜规则你知道吗？
哦，我在春季赛中总共打了18场比赛，请问第1支使用的英雄为什么
？10万年。
哎，怎么那么会猜？
啊，就那场你就没屁用了。
哇，你只送，
我就记得那场。
对啦，
跟中路联动。
换到中是谁？
塞尔斯啊，那个
我塞尔斯啊。
机人全控包什么？
请问我在春季赛总助攻数为多少？
陈志豪，我要猜，
先说
70
到150，101到150，
87了。
过去101到150了
，101到150。哦，抱歉，
头有点痛。
106到110哦，108啦，
可惜啦，106到108。真的我要猜107，你中了吧？碎啦！
所以你助攻那么多。
好，你这个那么多，我也不想那么多，
代表没有击杀。
那你，
我不算准。
瑞士的在季后赛的 KDA 为2，请问春季赛最后一场是玩的哪一支英雄？季后赛啊，讲错了。
克雷德。
好，算你对了。请问瑞士特在春季例行赛中2x4的胜率为何？
是啊，我要猜，哎，我已经，
那你先
0，答对了。
我就是要猜0呢，
就0啊，没赢过。
扣皮没有。对，我们平手哎，3，我3他，应该搞怪。
还是那个，反正前面都靠赛，最后一题就4分这样啊，他也有机会赢，反正都要加了。
感觉对，有机会。
对不对？
这样他这样有逆转，不然他玩不到。
对啊，玩不到游戏。要
他已经
关怀新人。
类似的在春季赛中最常使用的英雄是什么？
谢谢我的
哎，他先
雷尼克顿。
哦，可以，又对了。
我要猜这
等一下，
不是哎，
你们说他赢了，
这样感觉还要17，因为我2分，
进惩罚了。
我有2分。
你2分，那2个一起惩罚。
扣币，你这样就低。
看出什么？
秀泰影城的电影票，团体的4张。哇哦，4张。这是什么？哦，5张。
我还以为那个，
不是，我还以为
要挑4个人呢。
不是啊，刚刚这连在一起。
我还以为制作单位故意要那个
这么狠
分裂我们一个人。
他说，那你要跟哪3个队友去试穿？
水最说谁？
我跟瑞特。
如果今天有新科技的发明同性可以繁衍后代，但是你现在选择 PCS 的品种，你会选择谁来繁衍后代？
要求诶。好，我直接讲，哈娜比啊。
哦哇哦，
哈娜比
就很喜欢他，对，
就很喜欢。Oh
你
my！
们私底下是很熟吗？
很熟，因为之前就很常打比赛嘛，然后私底下有一起出去吃饭。
你不是会去他家吃饭？
他家
对啊，
去他家玩游戏？
之前有去过他家。
对啊，感情很好。
没有。
不要跟我讲
我们知道。
只能选我们赛区的哦。
对啊，
可是不行哎，我的心中只有一个人，我没有办法选出我们赛区的人，因为我只对佛哥有感觉而已。没办法，太爱他了，
爱到要哭了。请继续支持 JT，
持续锁定 PCS 官方粉丝团。
拜拜拜拜。
Disappear, I'm your eraser. Ain't the cut just like a razor. Murder in this world, my blazer. I got all the boys on me. I got all the lines on ring. Knocking dead, turning heads. I got all the eyes on me. Pretty face, 걸어 들어와. 유행 선두자. 원하지만 못하잖아. 애가 타잖아. You make roll, 할리 유도 gold. 난 알지, I know. 준비해, cause I like the ball. 멈추지 않아. 말할래, 그게 like a bag. 그거 말고 bye. 믿어봐, 그만큼 크게. 펴고 high 100% 덤비지 못해 죽여주잖아 나는 boss 간지 with the sauce 원하면 줄게 I'm doing damage when just how I planned it I do what I want when I say 모두 날 따라해 난 끝내주잖아 To live on the edge of insane Coming at you like real real world Here to light it up set the world on fire Gonna break the rules and hearts and tools Cause that's what the baddest do I never going back, nah nah that Diamonds on drip cause I came to make a splash Gonna break the rules and hearts and tools Cause that's what the baddest do Sorry for the bad news, sorry I'm so bad Only took a minute for me to get what you had Sorry for the bad news, no it makes you sad There for a minute, baby you should pack your bags Way that I look should be breaking the law If I don't got it, I take what I want My circle small like a round of applause You know that I love the sound of applause You know I mean everything that I say When you see me come and get out of the way Back in the sleigh, back in the sleigh Back and I'm better and ready to play I'm doing damage when just how I planned it I do what I want when I say 모두 날 따라해 난 끝내주잖아 To live on the edge of insane Crazy Sorry not sorry for being the best 언제든지 내가 좀 mad Look at the gold all on my chest Look at the gold call it a flex
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our final show of the year. It is our Philippines promotion match final. LYB looking to defend their PCS slot in 2021 up against local rivals Panic Time. Welcome, everybody, to the Global English broadcast. My name's Opal, joined alongside Riku one final time here. Riku, of course, this is your home region, and now we get to see whether or not LYB are able to defend their slot for next season's PCS, or do we get to see some new fresh blood represent the region?
Yeah, exactly. A lot is at stake here for this best of 5 series, considering the fact that the last time you've seen these players go up against each other is either back in SIA Invitationals or back in the LST qualifiers. So a lot of history has been between these two new generation of players for the scene.
Yeah, you mentioned there is some players that just joined in on LYB. A lot of some of those rookies used to be playing with some of these players on their teams back in the previous year. So there's a lot of little bit history in between some of these squads. So I'm interested to see how it's going to really kind of pan out, because especially considering the performance that we did see out of Panic Time, they were in fact able to 3-0. Unlike what we saw yesterday with our challengers, where they were taken all the way to Game 5 to get into that promo matchup against Resurgence. Maybe we might have a little bit more of a clearer, stronger team, but LYB, they're no pushover, to say the very least, as this is an established organization within the Philippines, and of course this is a roster that is looking to remain at the top when it comes to the region.
Exactly, and I think for this particular series, I think the biggest difference would be usually when it's LYB, it was the old veterans, the old guard that would usually guard their spot. This time around, again, I did mention it's one new generation of players against another. You've got, again, Kanji and Doi with their top in jungle duo, and again, for Panic Time, they formed this team just for this promotional. So again, the synergy may not be there, but the fighting power is definitely there, and their talent as well.
Well, that's kind of the thing. That's something that we even saw yesterday, especially. A lot of the overall team macro looked a lot stronger from the PCS squads when they were playing into the matchup. But we even saw at times a little bit nicer team fighting coordination. It might have been a little bit more solo queue-esque, a little bit more chaotic. But that's where some of these teams like to thrive, and I'm interested to see how LYB tries to do. I know they've had themselves, of course, the month break after the end of the PCS regular split, where they were not able to make it into playoffs. They have had time to kind of readjust themselves. I know we talked to Cabbage a little bit back when he was on for some of the playoffs, and saying, the team has had some time to kind of relax and get themselves refocused, especially for this matchup. And we're going to go ahead and load up into Champion Select. Panic Time going to be on the blue side. LYB on your red. And we're going to start things off here with the Lilia, as well as the Jace band coming out here from LYB.
Yeah, I believe Panic Time did pick this up back in the relegation match against Kaiju, and now Lilia, Nidalee, so a lot of focus ban on towards Dodoi, which is absolutely understandable, since again, he has been one of those players back in the PCS regular season that has controlled the pace of the game in the early stages.
We'll see here. A lot of the targets actually kind of going on over to Doi at the moment. Getting rid of that Nidalee that he was starting to favor toward the end of the regular season. Not going to be available. And the Ornn, not going to be available, even though Kanji wasn't necessarily known as the Ornn player when it came to LYB. Obviously, used to play in the mid lane, had to role swap when he wanted to join the squad. He is going to be likely going up against a Shen, as it is going to be hovered here by Panic Time, as LYB forced to ban out that Lucian and Caitlyn on the red side.
It makes me wonder whether or not this still can be flexed towards the support role for Cresho. Again, in the promotional series we saw yesterday, there's still a lot of interesting picks, like the Kha'Zix for Caspiel yesterday. So again, cannot count that out. But in the meantime, though, another ninja has been picked up, and that's going to be an Akali.
Interesting that we're going to have the Akali locked in so early. It does allow it to be a flex there for either Kanji or Rex, but for Dawn, going to be able to fall back on kind of the old faithful. The Ashe was one of the first players to actually pick it up during the PCS before it kind of really became meta across the board, so going to be comfortable for himself.
Yeah, definitely. Dawn either would pick, just as you mentioned, Ashe or maybe the Ezreal, which means that either YJY could fall back into that secondary pick, but that hover could mean that this is going to be another Senna versus Ashe bot lane matchup.
All right, so a Senna going up against the Ashe. We saw that a couple times yesterday, and the Senna has been able to perform quite well, being able to get into kind of that hyper carry state that we have been kind of hoping for. And for Arise in the mid lane, we might be looking at an Orianna pick, something that's stable, something that's easy to go with, and provides a decent amount of damage to those team fights.
Yeah, exactly. A very safe lane established, and just as you mentioned, a lot of synergy, I suppose. You just give the ball towards the Shen, he's gonna dash in, and possibly, since a lot of the LYB champions so far seem to be a little bit, short-ranged. It seems to be, I think, the perfect formula so far. But now let's take a look at the secondary bans, because there's still not junglers being picked right off the bat except for the Graves so far. So we'll have to see what Revelate decides to do. I mean, we've seen Hecarim yesterday. I wonder if that's going to be picked up as well.
Not too sure if the Hecarim's going to be in that kind of arsenal. We'll have to see. That was kind of a Caspial throwback, even though it has been kind of getting a little bit more popular. The Volibear ban, though, I do like that, taking that away from the side of Panic Time, something that's rather reliable when it comes to the jungle, doesn't necessarily have to do a whole lot to try and carry there, provides a decent amount of CC, and again, a lot of dive potential, especially when you pair it up with that Shen. I do like that LYB did decide, all right, let's get ourselves the jungle for Doidoi. Let's try and get him on something that he's comfortable with, something that he can try and carry from, instead of have him fall back onto the Lee Sin, which we saw time and time again during the regular split, where it was either hit or miss.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, either towards the Lee Sin, maybe a little bit of Olaf and Trundle, the usual PCS special, even back in spring. And I like this ban as well from Panic Time on this Thresh pick. I mean, Mocha can still pick up the Bard if he wants to. Most likely one of the, I suppose, really talented players when it comes to the Bard pick. So gotta respect that still. And that is quite open and can still be picked by LYB.
All right, so we see here Nautilus as well as the Thresh being banned out. And for
mind.
LYB, it is going to likely be this set. Now, of course, Mocha has played the set before, so this isn't necessarily going into the mid lane. But wouldn't be out of the question and would kind of put this Akali up toward top for Kanji into the matchup up against that Shen. Or are we going to see ourselves as a support Shen, like you mentioned, as that Wukong is a possibility. We could also see the Wukong bot that's been paired up with Senna before during the summer in other regions. There's a lot of flexibility here for Panic Time until we actually see what they're going to actually settle upon.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of room for experimentation, I suppose, but you've only got one chance on this best of 5 series. Again, a lot is at stake, but yeah, it could be the Shen support paired with this Senna pick, and then you have a really good setup for Spelts. And we did mention the Hecarim. It has been very popular, been very strong in this particular patch, and we might see it again. There it is.
Oh my lord. Don is not going to enjoy himself this game. Let's just say that this is very much the, oh, you're the AD carry. Have fun, pretty much. You're going to have a Hecarim on top of you, you're going to have a Wukong diving on top of you, and one of them is going to have a Shen ultimate likely at the very end, on top of then a global Senna that doesn't even need to be near you. For this final pickup here, though, for LYB, this might be just kind of the last-second pivot. We're going to possibly see this last pick, Renekton, going to likely go for Kanji, and I think that means for Rex, we're going to see this Akali.
I don't think we've ever seen Rex on the Akali before. It's usually either the Twisted Fate or maybe even Karma Duty during the early seasons of the PCS. Or either the Zoe if it's open, either on a traditional mage. So this is very exciting to see Rex on this Akali pick. And actually a little bit surprised to see the set open. Just means there's a lot of respect more on towards Dodoi's side of things. But setup-wise, LYB has assembled themselves a very standard PCS pick. PNC, though, while a little bit standard here and there, Shen support definitely not seen just yet. Usually we see that at the top portion of the map, but excited to see how this is going to pan out for Cresho.
Well, he is going up into a bit of a melee matchup, so it's not out of the question right there. You're going up against the set, so we'll see how that one's going to actually pan out. I haven't seen a Shen versus set matchup in bot lane as support,
never.
So this one's a little bit different, to say the very least here. We'll have to see how that's going to try and pan out here on the side of Panic Time. Of course, Panic Time, they are our challengers here to LYB as they try and take away the PCS slot for the Philippines away from this established organization that has been, of course, formerly known as Mineski during the rebrand here to LYB Esports. It's a long-standing organization when it comes to Filipino esports. So for Panic Time, again, you're kind of fighting up against what you could call the local giants of the region. And like you mentioned, we'll see how well they're going to be able to try and put this squad together, considering this was such a short notice roster that was formed. And we'll see whether or not they are able to find success here during game 1. LYB, though, they've had a month to prep for this exact matchup here, this one best of 5 to keep themselves themselves locked at the top tier when it comes to League of Legends within the region. We'll see whether or not they can defend their slot as we load onto the Rift for Game 1. And back we are here on the Rift for our final day of PCS when it comes to 2020. It's a little bittersweet, obviously. Get our final match here. We'll see which one of these two teams will be able to mark their slot into the PCS. Yesterday we saw the challengers against Resurgence Impunity actually take away the slot all the way to Game 5. We'll see if Panic Time can recreate the success, and maybe we get to see two fresh faces joining the league. I know LYB, though, the squad alongside Cabbage, not taking this lightly, to say the very least, as the players, obviously, many of these joining during the midsection of our season after the mid-season break, had a lot to prove. I still think they want that chance to prove that they can remain at the top level, but that for stay within it up against Panic Time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this first game will definitely set the tone for the entirety of the series. And when we look at Panic Time's roster, it is a combination of basically 1UP and as well as GH Alpha, which before had a history of defeating LYB back in, in PPGL, the Philippine the Philippine Pro League back in the day, 2018 and 2019. So there is that still possibility while LYB is able to be undefeated in the LST qualifiers against these players back then, but those are primarily on the best of one part of things. But they've lost against these teams, these players in particular, in BO3s, in a series.
Well, you mentioned LST qualifiers. You also had to note that there is no one of that squad outside of Doidoi that is remaining here on the side of LYB. Of course, we saw the departure of veterans from the roster during that midseason break where a lot of these rookies came in for LYB. We saw Exosin depart from the team. You also had the other members up toward the top lane also coming on in. Kurd was no longer part of it. And even then, to say the very least, Kurd was a fresh face in himself during spring, but you also had back last year was Gamza. Of course, no longer with the team as well. So I'm interested to see if, they can repeat the success of that kind of former rosters. Rex already gaining some good trades here up against Arise.
Yeah, having a difficult time. Again, Akali having been very buffed when it comes to at least this patch in particular. And in the meantime, though, Cresho as well getting a really, really poked down, which means Cresho cannot be aggressive with the Shen. Doidoi moving towards bot.
We'll see if Doidoi can actually make a play here. It's rather risky to go for tower dives with the Graves. Of course, that can unfortunately soak up a lot of the damage, but Doidoi is going to position himself. Level 3 ticks over, so this can get a little bit risky here for LYB, trying to go in for this. That's going to be the Haymaker going on down. Exhaust is ticking. Mocha's able to escape, but you can see how messy of a dive that is. I would say that's just a bit of over-aggression coming out from LYB. I don't know if Mocha can actually finish off Cresho. Still has flash on both of these members of Panic Time. LYB are kind of the ones that end up losing the most of their summoners, and you also have this Hecarim coming down. You're really going to try for this one more time, LYB. It's going to be, of course, the Facebreaker coming on through. First Blood going on over to Doidoi, and they're able to take down another, but now Revate is able to retaliate, as now Dawn caught underneath the tower. He needs to get himself back to safety. In the end, it's a 2-for-1. But a messy trade to start off our match.
Yeah, at least, okay, LYB is able to get 2 kills off of that, get that first blood. Panic Time at least is able to exchange at least 1, even though it is a second time is the charm. Good thing it's an Orianna getting shoved into his own turret, or else it could have gone much messier if Arise is able to join in the fight. But Rex, again, because of that mid lane pressure, which means LYB has a lot more room to actually do it twice to be able to do that dive.
Yeah, and we kind of see the dangers that are, trying to dive in onto a Shen in particular. Meanwhile, top lane, though, Mocha coming on over. You did see Spelts trying to go, and Mocha unable to get that Facebreaker. Does force the flash out, though, out of the Wukong.
That is For Spouts, unfortunate, no flash available against this bully lane, especially you're going up against a very scary jungler, a painful jungler as well. And therefore, Spouts has to keep an eye on things. But then again, he's a Wukong. He will definitely have to sort of try to survive the later portions of the game to create a high impactful team fight. But unfortunately, he actually won. Okay, I missed that part of things.
We didn't get to see that because we were doing the replay. I was wondering, I'm like, why is Kanji so far down in CS? I'm like, I see him teleporting back. He just, okay. That was a bit painful, Kanji. You need to temper the aggression there onto the Renekton.
Exactly. I stand corrected. It was. I think this is, I believe, one of the most anticipated matchup because you've got Kanji and Spouts both have created a name into the local collegiate scene for the Philippines. So a lot of fans are looking forward to this matchup as well. Revelate coming up on top.
Kanji, slice and dice. Needs to be careful here. Revelate not deciding to go for the dive. Still not having level 6 on that Hakram. So it looks like it'll be just fine. To be honest, though, I don't think Spelts really needs the help as Kanji's going to get soloed underneath the tower. And this is a little bit of a warning sign. And if I am Cabbage right now, game 2, I'm putting Kanji on a tank.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Panic Time. Okay, let's remove Orange. So Kanji just has to choose between maybe a Wukong, maybe a Volibear. But anyway, that's a Renekton. It's the PCS Renekton that we see. But unfortunately, that's a 2-0 on Spelts on this Wukong. LYB, though, is able to exchange an objective off, at least, against Panic Time because of that top lane pressure, in exchange for at least some bottom lane room. But yeah, Revelate didn't even need to help Spelts at top side. He's able to do another solo kill, not even waiting for that level 6 on towards Kanji, and therefore has the upper level advantage.
Yeah, Kanji, you gotta save that mobility for when you need it there, because of course Spelts can make that distance up with a quick E, so maybe it's just not being familiar with the matchup. We did mention that Kanji, of course, role swapped to the top lane at the start of this season to play for LYB. But now toward the bot lane, it's not looking all that good. It's a nice dodge coming out from Dawn. Unfortunately, Mocha able to delay a little bit longer, has that Haymaker, brings in the damage. Dawn gets the Revelate pretty low, and they're going to trade 1-for-1. Doidoi exhausted, but it ends up dissipating. In comes the teleport, though, from Spelts. Does not have Cyclone. But that is enough to force him to back off. Doidoi even using the collateral damage just to give a little bit extra room between him and the rest of Panic Time.
Yes, that is definitely a win trade in favor of LYB, as they've managed to exchange jungler in comparison to the support of LYB. And I guess I saw the idea. Panic Time, unfortunately, have invested a lot of resources because, again, Mocha was the one available to invest on their resources on for damage, but unfortunately Doidoi was there for the counter gank.
And to be honest, I'm a little afraid here for LYB. This aggression that's starting to show out of Panic Time, the fact that the solo lane has gone as well as it has. I'll give it to Kanji. It has been able to at least make up the CS, but that is with, of course, a Wukong roaming into another lane to at least try and apply some form of pressure. We do see Mocha, though, starting to look for a lot of roams. We already saw him go to top once, and now already coming up toward the top side of the map saying, all right, guess what? We're going to go take this Rift Herald, and we're not going to lose out, at least on neutral objectives, as they have already secured the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, LYB, I suppose, isn't too worried about their solo lane since they've been sort of recalibrated their attitude when it comes to the game after having to fight against, you know, HQ, PSG Talon. Kresha, though, will have to bump into Doidoi.
Runs into Doidoi. Still a decent amount of damage, though, that comes out from that grave, so have to respect it a little bit here. We've seen that Rex now has decided to at least go into the side lane to try and at least keep that occupied, as the mid lane now has his bot lane. We're looking for possibly a dive here onto the Senna. Gotta be a little bit careful here if you're YJY. You do see a pretty dark jungle above you. Realizing that Rex is positioning very aggressively, I think this is the call. There you go, Doidoi flashing on forward. In comes the Ash Arrow, and it's beautifully done, as that's going to be the collateral damage to finish off the Senna. And LYB able to find the dive, a teleport from Rex to make sure they don't lose out on mid.
Yeah, Mocha ain't even needed in that dive. It was very easy. Kresha was not present as he was trying to make presence and the other portion of the map, therefore have to sacrifice, leaving his AD carry alone. And unfortunately, YJY not having a flash intact is gonna get taken advantage of, and you know, Mocha not even level 6 as well, and therefore, rather Cresho not even level 6, therefore is not able to assist his AD carry as quickly as he can.
So with that, that's going to be first tower going in favor of LYB. They're able to actually open up about 2,000 gold lead. A lot of that on Doi and Dawn right now. Not too bad to have it. Kanji, though, I've seen this one before. It didn't work out in your favor. Is holding on to that Dominus a little bit longer, though, so not going to pop that immediately. Can't actually trade back against this Wukong just because of that ultimate, giving a little bit extra health, but decides to back off and looks to go for a quick roam to get some vision down.
Quick roam to get some vision down, as just as you mentioned, 55 seconds on the clock for the next dragon to spawn. But yeah, LYB does have the upper hand when it comes to bottom side control. They are able to... Yeah, it's okay!
Oh no, Arise. That one was a bit tragic, as that was a shockwave used. Rex still has the second ultimate. Decides just to use it to get away, realizing that the Hecarim is nearby. Does not want to try and give a kill over there, but still... starting to show a lot of aggression out of this Korean mid lane that we've been asking for Rex to be a little bit more unleashed over the course of this split, or this season as in its entirety, as he was often put onto like Karma mid. We saw him on utility nonstop, or Zoe. This time he's on Akali that, in essence, if he's able to get ahead, can truly 1v9.
Yeah, and I think he's doing a pretty good job so far, is able to at least shove Arise, and is able to take advantage of the Orianna pick. Therefore, a lot of free space to roam downside bot lane, and that's what we see at the moment. Revelate is going to be fine. He's a Hecarim. He can just gallop away from danger. But biggest question is, does PNC want to take advantage of Dodo's isolation here?
Ooh.
Never mind.
Get some decent damage, though, onto that Hecarim. We'll be able to get the Honey Fruit, though. So, going to be able to regen up. You do see that LYB want to try and contest for this. They do have ultimates available on the form of Dawn and Mocha, so Mocha could go for the engage to try and slam into the back line. We'll see if Doi really wants to position forward. They're a little bit afraid of this Shin just going for a taunt stun, but in comes that engage, and that's going to be Valtai's. Ended up getting picked up immediately. Mocha getting very aggressive, but he can't finish off the kill. Cresho, though, gets taken on down as Kanji now rejoins in onto the fight. It's a double kill finally for the Renekton, as Kanji finally gets himself onto the scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. Kanji is able to at least get that consolation prize and get him back on the board with that double kill on his Renekton pick. And the thing was, PNC, at least they're able to get the dragon, make it an even score on the dragon piece. But then again, LYB is definitely more comfortable to enter these fights because everybody is just practically in that tight corner. And LYB has a lot of options. And Art is the first one to start the fight. And unfortunately, Panic Time looked a little bit panicked there.
A bit panicked, you could say, at the very least. And that now opens up about a 5,000 gold lead for LYB. As for Panic Time, you're kind of still waiting on these first items, considering the fact that some of these solo lanes actually were getting ahead. We saw Spelt still waiting on to his training force. I know me and Riz talked yesterday, too. We've been finding a lot of these Hecrims opt not to actually finish their item before actually getting their jungle item completed. And on top of that too, Arise, he's still waiting on to his Seraphs to get even completed at this point, let alone stack.
Yeah, as long as PNC is able to slow the game, I suppose, because it's looking like Dawn is having the best time in this game. 304 is able to get full 5 stacks along with his team, and still 5 plates intact for the bottom side of the map. Therefore, YJY is just really put further behind his counterpart. Well, then the team fight, if ever PNC finds that opportunity, I feel like they will have a very stable chance. Again, range-wise, these ultimates put all together will definitely work in their favor. Now though, Rift Herald will be the next one to spawn. We'll have to see whether or not PNC decides to just farm it out or try to fight and take away these kills for themselves.
I do like that Panic Time were at least able to find that opening up against LYB and actually take that dragon away. It does kind of delay that win condition that could have been the Ocean Soul for LYB at about 24-25 minutes if they were able to consistently get the dragons. So it does kind of slow down the pace of the game, which you kind of need here for Panic Time. You need this Senna to start scaling back up. You need this Orianna to get a couple items online. You also got to worry, though, when is Rex actually going to get himself onto the scoreboard? Because right now, this Akali has been rather quiet, still sitting at that 0-0-0 scoreline, still has that, of course, first item completed, so Rex is a threat. We just haven't seen him really be part of any fight, and that might be a little bit scary here for Panic Time, as that's going to be the engage. Trying to steal away a Rift Herald. It ends up costing him dearly. Rex, though, getting hyper-aggressive, wants to try and go for the play in onto YJY, getting himself the damage down, needs that auto-attack passive to follow on through, 5-point strike coming offline quite shortly. In comes Dodoy, though, wants to go for the kill, and the collateral damage, even through the exhaust, is able to find the kill.
We were talking about team fight. That is the strength of PNC, especially in the later stages of the game. But unfortunately, Arise was not even there. He was at the base, he just ported back, and he was hoping he would get the teleport out. Kanji, everybody's diving.
They still want to go for this. Is Mocha able to get the face breaker into the double haymaker, but Dodoy steals away the kills. And there you go, the emote's starting to come out here from LYB as they crash in onto the base. 16 minutes for the first inhibitor. Yeah, YJY, I'd be also questioning a lot here myself, as unfortunately, the team now base scarred before 20 minutes, all because they tried to steal away a Rift Herald.
Exactly, and imagine how snowbally the results are, how snowbally that punish is, just as you mentioned, just for attempting to steal that Rift Herald. And again, unfortunately, we were looking at the wombo combos. You've got Spelts not even around the pit. You've got Arise, who wasn't able to get that teleport in. So it's a little bit sporadic in terms of what Panic Time wants to do.
Yeah, my thing is for Arise, like, you saw the shockwave was just non-existent, and at the moment, LYB kind of realized, hey, yeah, we have ourselves like an 8K advantage. You take a look, that's like 30% of Panic Time's gold at the moment. They literally have an extra 30% on top of their opponents at the moment. That's pretty much a completed item on each player. As you can even see, Panic Time, we don't still see a completed item on the top side of their map outside of the mid lane. You're still waiting on that Hecarim to get his first item. You're still waiting on the Wukong to finish off a Triforce. Panic Time can't compete right now.
Yeah, exactly, and LYB is just taking advantage of that. And the fact that Panic Time invested so much to ban out Dodoy in the draft, and now look at him, 603, 600 gold bounty. This is definitely such a comfy game for Dodoy so far, even though the early game for Kanji didn't work out too well, and Panic Time wasn't able to take advantage of that because bot lane was actually also losing.
See now, ping's coming out as Rex just gonna go for the solo kill in top lane, and oh! Arise just gets slayed where they stand. Shockwave wasn't even completed. And if Rex can find a solo kill on the side lane, this game, it's not looking all that pretty for Panic Time at this point.
Yep, ain't looking pretty at all. Well, we talked about, again, the strong 5v5s in the later stages for PNC, but LYB is not giving them any sort of room for them to reach that and is sorta actually speeding up the process.
Oh, Elevate gets caught out there by the arrow. Kanji onto the back line. He will get the slice and dice, and there you go. This Renekton sure in lane, it wasn't all that pretty, but it doesn't matter because the team fights are here for LYB. Shockwave lands, but unfortunately, it's only an 18-minute Shockwave with an Orianna that was not able to find a kill. And now that's going to be the second inhibitor taken before 20 minutes here by LYB, making a statement in Game 1 saying, if you wish to challenge the top, if you even wish to compete in PCS, you have to go through us.
And it is a strong statement indeed. That's just game number 1 that we're seeing against these two teams. And PNC, they look very, very scattered just because LYB has won every single lane. Possibly, maybe not. It was quite even at the top portion of the map. But again, they look very, very scattered, unfortunately.
So now you're looking at a 11,000 gold lead now. LYB.
Oppo.
What?
Triforce synergy is there for Hecarim and Monk.
The bubble, the double Triforce spike. Does it overcome a 10,000 gold lead though? That's
very
a tough
hard.
one. That's a tough one.
It is.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna have to give benefit of the doubt to LYB, who have an extra item on every member of their team right now. As at the moment, that's kind of the situation.
it is a very dire situation for Panic. And I think the only time that, well, let's just say Panic is able to slow the game even more is to get a pick, and this could be it. But Dawn is an Ashe. He does have the Hawkshot at least to scout it out. Mocha, though, showing his presence here and is able to face check the brush, but he's a very tanky set at the moment. And LYB is creating more space for them to get an additional win condition for them, which is not only the huge amount of gold and early lead, but as well as that Baron that is sitting pretty in the pit.
Well, that's kind of the thing right now is for Mocha, he's super tanky because if you look at the fact of the damage kind of the graph you would see, three of the 4 carries on your team are doing AD damage, and right now that Orianna was never able to really get ahead. That's a really aggressive play coming out to get on top of Dawn. There you go. That's what you need to do. They take the odd man fight in their favor. Mocha, Haymaker comes out, not able to do much else. Doidoy going back to the stasis. Rex is still alive here, getting some decent damage down. Goes it back into the Shroud, trying to get himself the damage. Going to go for the ultimate. Not able to find it though, as Arise is able to take him down. In comes Kanji and LYB. They're going one at a time right now into the fight, but they're able to trade back. Kanji getting one, going over the wall, was able to get the second activation of the Slice and Dice. Arise now going to get stunned up, has to flash back to safety. And LYB, they do lose out on 3, but they do trade back 2. Meanwhile, though, Nexus Tower's being pummeled by the minion wave.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. You have a lot of backline access to remove Dawn right off the bat at the beginning of the fight, and that is just a very favorable 4v5 situation. Unfortunately, though, your base is actually being attacked at this point, and I feel like if Panic Time sort of replicates this sort of strategy of just catching them while LYB is going a 1-1-3 to push, I think they can slow it down even more. Unfortunately, though, LYB, if they're pretty confident because they didn't even have the Baron at that time, so most likely to get a comfortable end process to this game, we'll get a Dragon, we'll get that Baron, and then we'll see if it's going to be a clean finish for LYB.
I like that Dodo went Edge of Night. I kind of hope they would go for Glaive. I assume the Glaive is coming up next. He does have that serrated into his inventory. Once they kind of have that, amount of vision denial that's just going to be there for LYB, it's going to be near impossible for Panic Time to move into their own jungle, as LYB themselves have become the camps. And they're waiting to see whether or not Panic Time wishes to come in and get that extra gold that has already been taken here by the LYB squad.
Yeah, unfortunately, Panic Time only having to rely on the marching minions towards their base, as just as you mentioned, LYB complete control over the map. Again, just as we mentioned, Dragon and then Baron, but Panic Time will have to use that space to possibly just try to shove the wave to buy them more time, or maybe make a last stand if they do want to fight it and bring the action into the pit.
Yeah, for LYB, kind of that next target is going to be this Baron. It's hard for them to push much further unless they are able to find themselves just continual fights in outside of the base of Panic Time. And that's kind of up to Panic Time to be the ones to make that mistake. If they do just kind of play far back and just try and turtle what they can, there is a chance that LYB may overexert themselves before trying to go for a Baron, and there's a chance they can take a fight back in their favor. They have a really nice wombo combo available to them. You get a Cyclone with that Unstoppable Onslaught coming out from the Hecarim with a quick Shockwave. It's some decent damage onto the carries of the backline of LYB if they're able to find them. LYB, though, they notice, hey, what are you doing outside your base? Get yourself back into that base right now. As it looks like they're going to try and position here for this Baron, an attempt to try and close out this game 1.
Exactly. I mean, the lead looks very dire for Panic Time, but as the game slowly progresses, Panic Time's chances of taking this game back for themselves increases. Look at them go.
That's aggressive. That's super aggressive, Panic Time. All right, that's 2 key ultimates down, and now LYB, they can say, all right, well, we can now walk into your base because you just don't have a real good way outside of this Wukong ultimate. Dawn doesn't have Flash, so that is some safety that is not available to one of these carries of LYB, but there you go. Inhibitor just gets taken. They can rotate down toward the bot lane, and they start this process all over again for the next 5 minutes.
Exactly. They were hoping that because, you know, Kanji is very busy pushing bot side, they're able to swooply eliminate at least one from that engage, but unfortunately, LYB saw that coming, is able to create space between them, and is able to bait out the unstoppable onslaught. And now, though, LYB making their way towards that Baron after clearing those 2 inhibitors, which means PNC, what do they decide to do? Do they want to attempt a denial, or do they want to sit in the base, wait for LYB's call?
Well, at the moment, LYB are the ones that can kind of play this dance if they want to. They don't necessarily have to be taking this Baron, but they just easily can, because it looks like Panic Time kind of realized at this point it's kind of done and dusted. If they really wanted to, they could try and bait out possibly that teleport from the Wukong and then disengage, but no. Baron's already down to 4,000 health. Panic Time need to make a decision. LYB are looking to stop. Okay, they go in. Rex is able to get the nice catch out on his belt, but Rex goes down low. In comes Mocha, though, with a 4-man face breaker. And now LYB can look to just dominate the back line. Dawn is untouched the entire time. And there you go, LYB. They said, all right, you want to check us? We'll take you down instantly. Rex going to teleport back to the base. Has himself teleport available. And this should be the push for the end from LYB.
What a last stand for Panic. And looks like LYB is hoping to finish the game after not even getting that Baron.
Don't even need the Baron here. In game 1, LYB, they welcome Panic Time into this promotion. Okay, Kanji. A little aggressive, but doesn't matter. LYB taking home game 1, and they can feel very confident after that showing. Up 11,000 gold, 9-17 the kill count. A great game to start off their promo relegation match to determine if they stay in the PCS.
Yeah, game 1 in this best of 5 series really sets the tone for and makes a statement for LYB. And that was not even, okay, early game, it looked a little bit even. But after a while, Dodoi was just racking up a lot of kills. Dawn was getting all the plates in the world, has a lot of space to work with. And that is the point where it started to crumble. And I feel like it is an unfamiliar scenario, because when we saw Panic Time against Kaiju, it looked so close, and it's a big question whether or not Panic Time is capable of coming back from such a huge goal deficit like that.
Yeah, and for me too, like, there were moments that we kind of felt like Panic Time did have some advantages. We mentioned that top lane matchup. Spells actually looked pretty good in the 1v1, but they just really weren't able to get a lead out of that lane, and Kanji was able to kind of step up during some of these team fights. I'll give Kanji credit. I kind of called him out during that early game. It looked a bit suspect, but team fights, he was able to do his job, and it did wonders. And on top of that, MVP going to go on over to Doi Doi, 7-0-7 on the Graves to start off the promo relegation matchup against Panic Time. And a great way to start off game 1.
Yeah, Dodoi is saying, okay, ban most of the high-tier jungle picks into the series. I'm gonna do fine, as Graves was still open for the taking. And yeah, speaking of team fights, LYB just looked very, very much solid and much cleaner. And even though Panic Time has assembled a great 5v5 composition, we didn't really see that actually work, except for once when they actually eliminated Dawn at top lane.
So now for Panic Time, the question kind of becomes, all right, where do we strike on the map now? And like I mentioned, top lane and during the lane phase might be a potential option for them. Bot lane, again, it got a little messy there for LYB. They were able to finally execute the dives they were looking for. And I wonder if we're going to see possibly some tools come out from Panic Time to try and deny some of those kind of plays. Especially, we did see that Shen. Unfortunately, the Shen support, we saw a couple missed flash taunts there, so maybe want to try and clean up that play. We'll have to see Panic Time. We'll see how they try and respond here after losing game 1 to LYB as we take a short break.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get set for Game 2 of our promo match for the Philippines. LYB able to welcome Panic Time to one heck of a time, you could say, as that was a proper hit coming out from LYB as they were able to dominate Game 1 in proper fashion. Outside the first 10 minutes, it looked kind of even. And then we kind of just saw LYB maybe get a little bit angry, and they're like, we don't want to be here. We want to get going. We want to have ourselves a quick night. And we're able to close out that game pretty heavy-handedly up against Panic Time. So now for Panic Time, the question becomes, how do they try and respond after such a severe loss coming out in your first game here in the promo relegation match?
Yeah, exactly. How do you get that mental reset after such a brutal first game for the series? And I think maybe change the approach when it comes to the draft. Maybe not invest too much when it comes to Dodoy, because Dodoy has a really big champion pool, and leaving the Graves out could possibly be maybe something else. Maybe they leave a lot of junglers out and then possibly open that up for Revelate instead. But looking at the bans, maybe not.
Yeah, it looks like Panic Time are opting for blue side once more, so want to have that first pick available. Remembering back, it was the Shen first pick in the previous game. I don't think it was as worth as I think they were hoping it to be. This time, though, banning out 3 jungles up against Dodoy. They say, all right, not going to see the Graves this time. LYB, though, red side Caitlyn, red side Lucian ban, and then the Jace on top of that. Pretty much the same as we saw back in Game 1.
I was saying, okay, set is open. Maybe they can pick that up so they can flex it into 4
Please
different
don't
roles,
first pick
possibly.
Don't pick. Okay.
Yes.
That is... I do not think that is first pick worthy on blue side, but heck, what do I know? I'm not the player. I'm not the coach right now. LYB, on their hand, they say, okay, we'll take Akali once more. Rix did pretty good on it, and we're feeling pretty confident as they don't look like they don't know how much they're going to change up this draft, because the other thing, too, is Kanji wasn't really playing a super tank, so even if they go with pretty much the same draft, which it looks pretty similar, that Trundle isn't going to necessarily have a major impact trying to, burst down front line.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think the difference between this draft is at least, let's go first on the red side. At least they're able to get first pick on towards set, denying any sort of potential pick into the later stages of the draft. But Panic Time, instead of going for the usual, possibly maybe the Ashe, denying that away from Dawn, it is the Aphelios. And, well, Twisted Fate at least for Arise this time around.
All right, so this one's already kind of screaming, let's try and get bot lane going at some point here. They're going to try and get Arise to level 6 and then get him roaming into side lanes. Dawn, though, going to be back onto something that he's comfortable on. It's just going to be the Ashe. It's a good pick into the already pretty nerfed Aphelios. The Aphelios, we haven't really seen it in competitive play all that much in the global playoffs ever since 10.16, and that is the patch that we are playing on. So as far as, strong picks go, I still feel like LYB are kind of on their comforts here so far, and we're not seeing much changes come out of Panic Time other than, not much changes out of LYB. Panic Time, on the other hand, they're the ones maybe in a bit of a panic trying to swap things up.
Yeah, I think during the break we were talking about maybe put Arise into something that is able to create impact at the early stages of the game, because obviously what happened with the Orianna versus Akali matchup, he's been shoved very hard and is unable to make visits at the bottom side of the map, which is what LYB wanted to do in the first game. And now, looking at the bans, Lulu, Thresh out of the question. Nautilus is open if they do want an additional front line for Panic's roster. But Renekton being taken away from Kanji.
I'm interested. Be big brain here, Dodo. I want to see this set jungle here. We see these bans coming out to support, so they kind of have a feeling this could still be flexed. And Mocha, we also know Mocha as the kind of player that loves his roamers, so there's still the option of baby Mocha bringing out the Bard. We saw that a couple times during the PCS regular season, which was rather dominating, was able to get LYB leads when he was able to play it, and that might be the case here, as it does get hovered, and wouldn't be shocked if it gets locked in, putting that set likely into a soul lane or into the jungle.
Yeah, Mocha, I believe, had this one maybe Bard MVP, I suppose, by the crowd, by the audience. But yeah, you're right. There's still a lot of flexible options. Maybe even putting Rex on usual utility duty, maybe the Galio, and make it a maybe Camille versus Akali at the top side of the map, and making it a very mechanically skilled matchup at top lane. We'll have to see as Panic moving towards their last pick for this draft.
Well, you see here, that Camille getting locked in for Speltz, it does allow him to, again, try and go for that 1v1. If he can get ahead, a Camille in that side lane can be just rather annoying to deal with once she's able to get ahead. Meanwhile, though, their bot lane, instead of going for the Shen, something that's kind of similar in the idea of just trying to go for an engage, and that is going to be this Rakan. Now for LYB, though, where do they put all these flexes? Again, the set could go mid, it could go jungle, Akali could go into the top, into the mid. There's a lot of possibilities on the top side of this map, and LYB kind of have the time here to kind of decide where they want to try and get these matchups in particular as their final lock-in here. Gonna take their sweet time, it seems. A Shen lock-in. Okay, again, not really telling me where things are going here. We'll have to see once it actually gets sorted out. I think that's going to be a set in the jungle then.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. Set in the jungle, and then we'll have to see whether or not that's going to be Kanji's pick, or maybe that's going to be... Yeah, it's a little bit confusing. But
I'd be shocked if that was a Shen mid. I'll be honest. I'd be pretty shocked if Rex has been practicing
Rex back at the Akali. Yeah. Yes. It works. And at least for this, Kanji is able to slow down the oppression against the Akali, is able to, I suppose, deny losing trades, I suppose. So I think this is the best matchup Kanji can do, and is able to sort of replicate that global presence that instead of the mid lane visiting bot side, you've got top side matching that global pressure with a Twisted Fate at the opposite end.
The thing that I actually really like with this Shen pickup is you take a look at kind of the damage output onto the side of Panic Time. 4 of those members are mainly auto-attacking or getting auto-attack modifiers into their kit to try and deal damage, whereas Shen just kind of comes along and says, "Shink."
Nope.
It's like, nope. All right. We're all dodging those auto-attacks. We're all dodging this damage, and though the Trundle pick is kind of okay now with the fact that you can try and steal some resistances away from that Shen. I still feel like it might be a little bit of a weird first pick coming out here from Panic Time. We'll have to see, though, as we're going to go ahead and get ourselves locked and loaded for Game 2 between Panic Time and LYB. Panic Time looking to tie up our series, make it a 1-1 heading into Game 3. LYB, though, they're looking for that match point. They're looking to make quick work of this challenger squad, looking to try and fight for the slot in the PCS. We'll see as we load on into the Rift.
To Summoner's Rift.
Did they make it daytime on that? I'm so weird. I'm used to it like hovering in the dark sky. Did they just like? They're just like, oh, it's just a nice, pretty day on the Rift, which I don't blame them. It's pretty nice out at the moment. I say that it looks like it's about to rain over here in Bangkok. So
it's been very rainy.
It's been very rainy over here. Let's not lie. Oh boy. All right, Panic Time. A different setup. This is very much a dive your backline kind of composition. You're going to have a Camille. You're going to have a Twisted Fate alongside a Rakan trying to get onto some of these squishy members of LYB. We'll see how well LYB, though, can try and, again, peel for the carries of Dawn and see whether or not Rex can find access in onto this Aphelios.
Yeah, a lot of utility on board. You've got Spelts to sort of isolate a single target. You've got Arise for the easy stun. And you've got Crescio as well to make sure that YJY is out of danger. So I suppose, again, if put all together as a formula, it looks great. But that also happened in game number 1, which unfortunately Panic Time is unable to make it work. We'll have to see, though, this time around if this approach, as Arise is not on the Orianna this time, is able to create impact at least in the early stages of the game, and is able to sort of put Rex on a good foothold. If ever Revelate decides to maybe gank in the mid lane, it's so easy to put this slippery target on the ground with that gold card.
We'll see if he can actually make kind of that follow-up there. I'm a bit concerned. Again, the Trundle has kind of fallen out of favor quite heavily over the past couple patches. We don't really see it a whole lot globally when it came to playoffs, as you just wanted stuff with a little bit more agency most of the time. You wanted stuff that was able to actually make action happen on the map with CC, something like the set. Whereas Trundle, early on, your first 6 levels, you kind of walk up into lane, put down a pillar, and hope that the mid laner is either on top of the pillar or you force a flash. It's kind of the only thing you can really do here right now on a Trundle.
Yeah, and I think it does sort of, on paper, when you look at the individual lanes, it still sort of makes up for that. Again, you've got Arise with an easy CC, Kresha with a knockup, and Spelts with, I guess they will have trouble having to put Kanji on hold, but then it's a Shen. They don't really have to put a lot of pressure. Wait till Spelts scales up.
Bot lane, Mocha did have to flash away, so that's kind of what you want to see from a Trundle. Coming into a lane, getting a flash. Mocha, Dawn, they need to know that he's still there. They need to know. Dodo has an idea. All right, there they go. Mocha's going to get caught out. The knockup's going to be there. In comes the teleport, though, from Kanji or Rex. We'll see which one's actually going to be there. In comes Rex first. Now comes that Shen into the face breaker, and it's a 3-man taunt coming out from Kanji. First blood does go in favor of YJY, but they will trade back a kill. And I'm a little disappointed from Kanji. I think he needed to teleport a little bit earlier there, was still able to find a 3-man stun, and you see all the summoners go down for panic time in the next couple of fights.
Yeah, I wanted to check who teleported first, but this is PNC calling the shots, just being less hesitant from game number 1. And with that, unfortunately, just as you mentioned, the teleport is a little bit late, but then again, they really have to be careful with that huge amount of stun in comparison to Arise's really just one single target of CC. LYB is able to at least make it a 1-1 exchange, but First Blood still falls onto Panic Time.
So at the very least, your First Blood bonus does go over onto YJY, which, again, not a bad thing to happen, actually, for Panic Time. It's really nice. Meanwhile, top lane, Spelts. He gets caught out into the stun. Does have flash to get themselves back to safety, though, so that'll be a Camille with not a whole lot. That's kind of the issue with a Shen set top lane. You don't necessarily have a whole lot of damage. You have a lot of CC, but that's pretty much it. So Spelts is able to find an opening and get themselves back to safety.
Still pretty good when it comes to burning the flash, at least. Unfortunately, unable to get the slingshot on board, and managed to get in range of this of Dodoy. But yeah, so far looking pretty solid for LYB. They're not antsy to do anything. They're very patient, so I think that is the good part when it comes to LYB. Panic Time, though, after game number 1, I can see the process on why they want to make things happen early, especially at the bottom side of the map, to slow down John, especially he was really a little bit rampant when it comes to the first game.
Interesting that Spells actually went for a call here, which now kind of screams this Camille is going to be kind of non-existent during some of these early team fights, which, to be fair, she doesn't necessarily want to be teleporting, but I kind of feel like you'll lose a lot of that just power you would have from this Twisted Fate Camille combo once they teleport into a lane. So it's going to be kind of up to Arise here to be this kind of playmaker for the team. We'll see whether or not they're able to find just that, as we already see that quick roam heading over toward the bot side of the map as Rex has to watch that TF already walk away.
Yeah, exactly. Level 6 already on board for Arise. He's actually making his way in range of his destiny. Fortunately, though, Wave is already being shoved in the mid lane, so as he has to go back towards wave clear duty before anything else. But in the meantime, though, Dodoy actually, I thought he was behind in level. He's actually ahead 1 level against his counterpart, which is Revelate, but he's actually trying to sneakily take this away.
Dodoy says, hey, what's going on here? That's going to be Destiny popped. In comes that TF, but that's a huge shield coming out from Dodoy as in comes Rex, able to take down the Trundle, makes the second execution happen. Arise able to get back a kill, but now YJY into the middle of the fight, trying to go for that 3v1, able to get Mocha down low. Rex goes down low too. They can't finish him off. The damn regen from this Aphelios already there, and Arise is able to help secure the kill. Rex on the other side, going on over the wall, 5-point strike, realizes he might be in the wrong place at the wrong time. YJY, though, cannot finish it off, and oh, it's going to come down to if this Aphelios can carry fights later. Oh, boy.
Exactly. It's a little bit scary that this Aphelios is getting early kills, and not only YJY, but also Arise on this Twisted Fate. But let's take a look at where this all started, because there's not a lot of vision to work with. Dodoy was a little bit comfortable to use that Blast Cone to reach the river faster, but unfortunately, Panic Time is actually lying in wait for that. 1 versus 1 when it comes to that exchange so far. But YJY, look how much he's tanking. And the wild card, unfortunately, not hitting Rex for that last shot. So that kill is actually sort of denied away from Panic Time.
Oh boy. Arise getting 2 kills though, never a bad issue for a Twisted Fate early. And it kind of allows this kind of mid-bot side of the map to actually scale up without the need of Spelts, which allows that Camille to kind of have a free time, which I don't understand how Spelts is still kind of below CS, as Kanji actually went for the teleport play off his ultimate, and Spelts didn't. So this CS lead is kind of concerning if I'm a Spelts fan right now. That's only 40 CS at 8 minutes. That's, be up front, that's not a good rate. As LYB, they're going to go ahead and start off this first dragon.
Yeah, it's been very tough against, again, this Shen matchup on towards the Camille. And it sort of neutralizes the Camille early. Earlier, we were talking about whether or not they wanted the 1v1 matchup, but you know what? Kanji might as well just go towards that neutralizing factor at the top side of the map. Considering that, again, game number 1, he had a difficult time against Spelt. So this is, again, Panic Time, unfortunately, is unable to bank on the usual snowball top side and bank on this mid and as well as this AD carry to scale up. Arise is seen though by that ward in the mid lane at least, so LYB has information whether or not he's going to move towards in range of a Destiny for bot side.
Do note though, LYB's bot lane now does have ultimates online, and that kind of keeps YJY from getting into that kind of mode that we saw earlier where he's able to just kind of regen during the fight between 3 members. If he is CC'd, he's not auto-attacking, then he's not life-stealing. Elevate, though, on this Trundle. 2 deaths, but 2 assists so far, so has been part of some of the action here for Panic Time. We do see Doidoi, though, and Rex kind of feeling something's afray, something's astray. Mocha also looking for the play. Does not have level 6, though, on this Bard. Are they just looking for the big play here in mid and try and get a Rise down, or will they actually transition up toward this Rift Herald?
Destiny is available, though, so Rise can sort of manage his way. Doidoi?
Doidoi? Does he just walk up menacingly? There comes that Haymaker down. In comes the Rex as well. Going to be 700 health. And Doidoi able to steal away the Rift Herald. Rex is able to tag in with the Shuriken. Goes back in with the Akali, forcing out the flash. Spelt has to go for the tactical sweep. Gets the slow down, but in comes Mocha. Looking for more. Does not have that Tempered Fate available, though. And without that, LYB cannot force the fight any longer. They do secure the Rift Herald.
Okay, good news for Panic Time at least. They did not overcommit in comparison to what we've seen in game number 1 at the Rift Herald. If they lost the Rift Herald, then fine. Just break out, retreat. It's okay to not commit to that fight instead as a consolation prize. For LYB, good steal is able to deny that away from Panic Time, even though they're the ones first on board at the time. And Panic Time really badly needed that, considering that, again, space has been badly needed for this early portion of the match, because again, Spelts has been sort of shoved into his own tower, which means Kanji has more room for the teleport plays.
So with that, that's going to be Rift Herald in Doidoi's back pocket. We'll see if they are able to try and break open, say, this mid lane. If you try and get some pressure in onto this Twisted Fate early, which I would like to see from Doidoi and Mocha at this point, try and get that first tier tower. It loses, the TF just loses a lot of pressure that he's able to exert on the map when he gets pushed in as far as that, and it makes Destiny roams pretty difficult. So we'll see if Doidoi tries to think the same there, as LYB kind of in hand with how this map pans out. Panic Time, though, with a small gold advantage.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like, you know, Doidoi can eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Maybe since Panic Time sort of selected Arise to relieve pressure at bottom side so they don't replicate what happened in game number 1, then LYB can possibly just, you know, invest a lot of plates on towards Dawn, quite similar to what happened earlier, or just as you mentioned, maybe break mid lane at least to unleash Rex to move around the map a little bit more. But in the meantime, though, vision-wise at least, Panic Time is able to defend their own jungle, but Mocha and Doidoi actually making moves aggressively when it comes to the vision control.
They might just look for a dive here. Mocha does have Tempered Fate. Cresho does know that they are nearby. It's going to be a stun, though, over the wall. Rakan just kind of holding on to that entrance, deciding not to take it. Speaking of, though, you have first items starting to come online for some of these members on the side of Panic Time. A lot better rate than what we saw during that first game, too. Roa completed there for Arise. You also have Infinity Edge there as well for the Aphelios. So not looking half bad, but do note that Hextech is completed by Rex, so he has a lot of damage. And Doidoi, they say, all right, yeah, so this is what we want to do. We want to try and break open this mid lane tower and try and get Rex roaming before this Twisted Fate can really come online.
A lot of plates being shared on towards Rex and Doidoi as well. That means, yes, more room to be able to get control over the dragon, which means LYB can turn into a dragon stack. Oh,
Kanji gonna get caught out here, but able to dodge away from the gold card. Gets the flash down. In comes Rex, though. On to this Akali. Gets that first shot. Wants to continue forward to flawless execution. Not able to keep up. Kanji ended up going into the fray. He's got to be careful as Arise is trailing nearby. But a nice little turnaround coming out from LYB. They're not able to find the kill, but they do keep Kanji safe.
Keep Kanji safe. Good stand united by Kanji there. And unfortunately, Arise's gold card expired before anything else started. And with that, though, you've invested 2 members at the top side of the map. That means Panic Time does have more room to start off this dragon, which means this is a replica of what happened earlier, of sort of slowing down that process going into that Dragon Soul for LYB.
Well, we'll see here,
nice
as
done.
LYB are considering maybe going for a play. I wonder what Mocha used his Tempered Fate on, because it is on cooldown. We didn't really get to see that. It did give an opening, though, over to Panic Time. They say, all right, we'll take second Drake, and kind of similar where LYB feels like they have some tools available to them to try and force some fights. We're not seeing them necessarily use them just yet, as it's just kind of a waiting game here as Don. Good thing that Hawkshot has, like, insane range on it.
Yep, it would have been a very easy kill. Don, though, still has that flash and as well as the cleanse, so a little bit of additional safety at least, even though Mocha is still not present, having to walk back to base. And I think this is a better game, definitely, for Panic Time. Just unfortunately, though, because of, again, that steal. Turret plates definitely in favor of LYB, but still good news. The game as actually being a little bit slowed down, therefore Arise still has a good foothold when it comes to the mid lane. And we'll have to see where the second Destiny is going to be, as it is about to go off cooldown. But vision-wise, LYB has definitely a lot of control. I don't see a lot of vision when it comes to Panic Time, just because LYB does a good job having to remove and deny that away from Panic.
Yeah. I'm still a little concerned, though, that LYB haven't been able to kind of take down a tower yet. Again, this team kind of is supposed to have more of a more urgent early game, considering the fact that you are going to go up against a Camille as well as an Aphelios. That's going to be teleport being blown. Don able to get himself that ultimate just in time. As you have the Rakan looking for the knock-up. LYB, though, not going to be able to really find that play. Doesn't mean Arise not going to have his teleport available, but still has Destiny. Not end of the world as Kanji. Watching Speltz here at the moment. Speltz has been able to kind of equal out that kind of CS disadvantage that we're starting to see grow. It hasn't grown anymore, which is a good sign. But that roam from Arise may end up costing them. Rex, get a little bit aggressive here. Can't really get himself to safety. Now is able to get that again. First activation. In comes the second. Gold card follows through. Kanji was also nearby, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of miscommunication come out of LYB.
I think that is the issue for Panic Time. We did mention they need a lot more damage on board, and I don't think Trundle and this Twisted Fate will be enough, having to remove Rex right off the bat, and therefore is open to any sort of deny with that Stand United that Kanji used to save Rex in that aggressive move. In the meantime, though,
Mocha.
Oh no, Panic Time?
Okay, Mocha, he kind of realizes this is a little bit awkward, able to get that stun off, but now he's going to get charmed up, and not having that vision. Kanji into the back line, though, trying to make it happen, and they're able to get that damage down. Wow. Don with a very good cleanse, able to keep himself alive. Arrow comes out, but they realize Speltz, though, is on the hunt. Flash underneath the tower. Don going to get ripped apart slowly but surely. Tactical sweep is there. Now Dodo going to try and answer on back. Has that facebreaker. Ends up missing, though, and Kanji now needs to get himself back to safety. Arise can't finish off the kill, but in comes Rex now, hunting on this Akali. Has ultimate available. Can try and look for the play, but the pillar will deny entrance.
Great pillar deny, as again, I feel like, you know, Rex's blood is boiling looking at those low health targets. I feel like that would have been a good cleanup, as Panic Time really invested a lot on committing 100% into this fight. Kanji, unfortunately, the ward was just too far, not able to get a good teleport to possibly save Mocha out of that. But again, it was the sandwich being sandwiched, and Panic Time is able to get the upper hand as Spelps actually has eliminated Dawn. And the rest of the squad, even the Revelate arrived, it's fine. Rather, even the Rex arrived. Pillar is able to deny any further bloodshed.
And unfortunately, that's for Dawn. He could have maybe survived, but you start to see that kind of difference in build when you go into Essence Reaver first. Sure, you have a little bit more upfront damage, but without that lifesteal, wasn't able to do a whole lot. We do see, though, a bit of chaos happening into the jungle of Panic Time as that blast cone sends half the team flying left and right. Lots of pressure coming out from Leah, but a lot of pings coming out now for this second Rift Heralds. They want to try and secure this. Still no first tower taken before 20 minutes. It looks like Leah, we're going to get the inside track.
This is definitely a slower game. Definitely a slower game. Definitely had the inside track. We've got Sunday United available for Kanji, and Panic Time actually decided to not fully commit. I think they're trying not to have the same mistakes of what happened in game number 1, and just hoping to exchange objectives. Arrow
comes through, isn't going to land. The YJY going to get caught out by the Tempered Fate, but they have a Rise there just to be there for safety. I would have liked to see Mocha try and go for maybe the entire team and not just the single carry. But with this, if they wanted to, if I was Liep, yeah, pop that Rift Herald mid and then go for this Dragon fight. If you win this, you win a lot. But Doidoi is just a little bit too late to the party. That does give them inside track, and that is going to be the first tower of the game being taken, and maybe now the second here as Panic Time. They actually can't rotate. They can't even go back to base. They want to try and go for a fight, but Liep are going to get 2 towers off this.
Yeah, a lot of value off of that Rift Herald, and Panic Time unfortunately only has that 1 consolation prize. That is unfortunate. Getting that charge off of that inhibitor tower, and value, says Liab, off of that Rift Herald. And unfortunately, PNC still trying to pick up the pieces, hopefully trying to exchange this first tier tower at bot side, but Kanji is already there, denying any sort of exchange.
So with that, Panic Time are able to secure themselves their second dragon of the game. It is going to be an Ocean Soul once again here in game 2. So there's that kind of option. Liab, though, a little bit concerned that they just kind of let that happen. Rexo in a side lane, and they look like they just want to try and set up a play here onto Arise. Going to come around the corner. In comes that gold card, but you see that damage already falling through. Facebreaker going to connect. Haymaker being lined up. Sure, you got the stopwatch, but Rex has the execute. Able to take him down with the ultimate and the shuriken. Rex? Okay. Got a little concern there. Able to also take the kill.
I was hoping that maybe Panic Time wanted to get the collapse, the counter collapse, but Arise, he did buy a couple of times with the stopwatch, but unfortunately, Panic Time says, okay, never mind, let's just stick in the mid lane. But top side is actually a little bit abandoned, so Dodoi and as well as Rex can keep hammering down that second tier tower.
We do see here, though, they get themselves another cleanse off YJY. I would have liked to see Crescio maybe go for the Crucible, because they really need to keep YJY active during some of these later game team fights. Arise just comes in for the teleport. Wants to try and defend that wave. Pretty excessive use of summoners, but at least he's able to keep that alive. Also now sitting on the Lich Bane as well as almost a fully stacked Roa. So this TF is starting to get some damage into his back pocket, into the kit itself. And for Liab, I do think you're starting to see a tiny bit of a timer here. Once the Felios, once this TF kind of get into their 4 to 5 items, it's going to be rather difficult for Rex and Dawn to really get onto these main targets, so we need to see some action come out of Liab immediately. That's going to be Crescio. In comes that ultimate into the Temper Fate. Almost able to catch out Arise. That is going to be the flash down, though, off the TF.
Okay, no flashes, yes, being used by Liab at least, so that's good news. So Liab will happily take that as a mini victory for them to use in the next objective, or the next fight possibly. But for Panic Time, that teleport was used by Arise earlier to get at least that tower at bot side. So exchange at least is sorta acquired.
Mocha able to get another stun. YJY, he's been there for the entirety of his life, it seems. Decent damage. Arise is going to come on in. Rex is nearby. In comes Doidoi, though, with the showstopper. Mocha going down low. Relevate can't finish off the kill, and the Bard's able to get back to safety. In comes the Aphelios ultimate, able to get some damage, but it's just not enough. and they're able to take down this Trundle as LYB find themselves a pick. A lot burned, though, to try and take down some of these members of Panic Time.
Yeah, you can tell that Panic Time was a little bit aggressive looking at Mocha's health bar. Okay, he's very squishy. Let's try to chase him, but again, even though Panic Time has a lot of peel, LYB as well has a lot of peel on the board. It all started with Dawn's arrow from the mid lane. Mocha, look at the intense amount of damage from this Bard alone. But the rest of the members of LYB are actually lying in wait. So therefore, Panic Time, unfortunately not ready for that fight. And Revelade is unable to escape off of that fight.
So with that, LYB find themselves a pick. And you can see kind of that global presence, and I really hope now it does look like the Rakan is going to go into the Crucible. Meanwhile, top lane, though, Mocha all over the place, it seems. Going to try and hold on to the sun as long as possible. No Destiny available. There's their taunt. Arise going to get taken down slowly, but surely that's also going to be a teleport for a teleport. Speltz wants to try and go for this play. In comes Relevate as well as the rest of Panic Time. Rex getting hyper-aggressive. Pop the flash. Wants to go for the kill. On to Relevate, and he'll find it. Able to sidestep away. In comes the Tempered Fate from Mocha. Able to stall out the fight as Dawn and the rest of the squad arrive. Kanji able to go in. Rex continues forward. In comes Dojoy with a face breaker, but immediately the disengage. It's going to be 3 members for 1 as LYB turn back toward the Baron.
Insane aggression that is absolutely paid off by LYB, and it all started again because of Arise is super aggressive without vision whatsoever, split foot pushing on towards the side lane, and is extremely punished so easily. And even though there's a teleport, there is another answer to that teleport, so you do have that numbers disadvantage. Speltz unfortunately had to waste that teleport and had to run away. And Rex, this is again one of his first performances on the Akali, and is doing really great against Panic Time.
Yeah, it's great to kind of see some of this action coming out of LYB. We kind of always wondered, hey, what would happen if Rex gets himself a carry? You did see, though, that LYB, they were able to secure the Baron, but they do now allow Panic Time to get to Soul Point off the next Dragon spawn. So having some of that regen may help out if they can delay some of these fights, which they do have tools for. LYB, though, with Baron buff, we'll see what they're going to be able to try and execute here on the map for the next 2.5 minutes. Try and maybe crack open the base of Panic Time. Because, again, we mentioned timer is ticking. When this Aphelios, when this Twisted Fate fully get their items stacked up, things can get a little bit messy here on the side of LYB.
That's the reason why LYB would want to fully take advantage of this Baron buff. There is that 2-tier tower still standing at bot and top. Now they're making their way to it. We'll have to see if PNC actually decides to sort of replicate that aggressive move of, okay, LYB will probably do a 1-3-1, and then that's the time they want to do that go button. But this time around, it's different. They don't have that team fighting power such as the Wukong and the Hecarim. It'll be very much harder, and they'll have to rely on an engage from Cresho on this Rakan, or maybe a gold card, or maybe a pillar.
Pillar just stops up Mocha. Mocha says, I have myself a way to get over wall, so it's not the end of the world. We do see LYB trying to position themselves. It looks like it's a 1-3-1 as you have the Shen in the bot side. That Twisted Fate, though, is nearby. We also see Relevate. They have yet to actually take that second-tier tower in bot lane. But LYB have been able to find themselves now a 5k gold lead off these kills, as well as the objective takes, and still have Baron for the next minute or so. We'll see Panic Time close to holding on to these towers. We'll see if LYB can break them or if they try and force a fight before they go in for the kill.
There's still 59 seconds on the clock, more or less, for this Baron. And Dodoy, very patient, lying in wait for a possible engage.
Relevate.
We'll have to see.
Gotta be careful. Dodoy was thinking about it. Decides at the last second, go to the right. And with this, they should be able to take this second tier tower. As Panic Time just, again, forgo it. For LYB, that's going to add in another couple hundred gold, now sitting at a 6,000 gold lead. And second items now coming online for some of these members. Dodoy positioning aggressively. Dawn going to start whacking away out the tower as this Ashe. We'll see, does Cresho actually want to try and go for this play? That's 5 members of LYB. The Twisted Fate's up in top lane. Sure, he has Destiny, but you're going to lose out on this bot lane inhibitor that is going to be down. until the next Baron spawn, which could be a bit of a disaster. Rise is coming on over, but there you go. LYB again able to take it down. We'll see if Panic Time decides to actually try and go for the play, get the knock up on Kanji. Kanji going down low. He'll get taken on down, but in comes the rest of the damage from the side of LYB. Haymaker there, and it's going to be some damage. Rex goes into stasis. Dawn wants to step forward on the Ashe. Rex almost gets the kill. Wow. In goes YJY, but he cannot keep the stand going. Mocha able to find the double stun. And with that, LYB still with 4 members and minions on the base, they should be looking for the Nexus Tower.
Yeah, Baron has already expired, but because of a lot of long death timers, LYB can look into closing the game and having to wait for at least a couple of minions. Still, never mind. They're knocking on towards that second Nexus Tower.
8 seconds on Relevate, but it does look like LYB are going to decide not to pull the trigger. Instead, rotate to the mid lane, take the second inhibitor. Or they decide not to. I actually don't know why, but hey, in the end, they're pretty happy with what they were able to gain out of this fight as they look to dive in on Panic Time.
Yeah, I mean, even though Kanji perished into this team fight, he still did his job. Because Dawn, the Rex, the rest of the carries are pretty much alive, and Panic has unfortunately invested so much into killing the tank, and therefore a lot of space for the carries of LYB to work with. And again, Dodoi with a beautiful set, and this beautiful double man stun from Mocha on the Bard. And it could have been the recipe for them to end the game there and then, but at this point of the game, I suppose death timer still has to be respected, and LYB decided to fight and end the game another day.
So there you are. It's a 7,000 gold lead for LYB. For Panic Time, there is still kind of that faint hope that maybe, you know what, maybe we can get ourselves that Ocean Soul. And that might be enough to try and keep us alive a little bit longer. Try and get this Aphelios. Try and get this Twisted Fate to scale. Now at 3 items with a Rapid Fire 2. No one's going to be able to run away from Arise. But we'll see whether or not they're able to keep themselves calm. As they are split out on the Control Ward. Mocha with Tempered Fate available. You can see Panic Time. They don't want to seem as though they are afraid of LYB. Still stepping forward here in the mid lane.
Yeah, LYB still has a lot of respect, even though they have a significant amount of gold lead already, and to the right, carries as well. Again, a lot of respect.
Oh no. Relevate gets caught out. In comes Rex, goes in the stopwatch immediately. It was all a bait. Ends the execution, and no Twisted Fate available. Mocha looking for the Temper Fate, not able to find it. It's up to YJY though to carry back this fight. Able to get the shurikens, able to get it. Gets in there, gets the first kill, takes out Dawn. Now Dodo is the next target. YJY finds himself the kill, but in comes Kanji, lands the taunt. Rex needs to finish off that damn Aphelios in the 200 years. It's not enough. It's a triple kill, but Mocha as well as Kanji can look to end the game.
Whew, what a sweaty finish for LYB still on this game number 2.
And with that, LYB, it will be the end. A slow end as Kanji and Mocha slowly tickle away at the Nexus. Right? No, Relevate's back up. Relevate's hunted. They can't finish it off. The minions were stuck in by this inhibitor. Mocha says, okay, I'm just going to take that. In comes Arise. Oh no. Here we go. Kanji though finds himself the taunt. In comes the Crucible from Mocha. Was insisting that it was going to be a taunt, but all right. LYB, they don't finish the game yet. The base in shambles. Let's take another look at how YJY almost was able to carry back this fight, and it was so close.
Yeah, Dawn invested the arrow onto hopefully eliminating Revelate right off the bat, but again, a lot of them focused a lot on towards the front line, and YJY doing really, really well kiting here and there, and is able to develop space. And it's all also thanks to Cresho as well with the peel. He has done so much to get that knockoff, but at the end of the day, tanks have managed to survive. Rex actually perishes off of that actually as well, and therefore PNC survives the second close call again in towards their base.
So it's close, but for now, LYB, they get to... Well, actually, LYB, why aren't you just... Wait, did they already take the Dragon? Okay, they already took the Dragon. Or graphing the top left's a little bit wrong there. It says Dragon's alive, and I was like, wait a sec, there isn't an Ocean Soul for Panic Time. LYB get a reset. They've taken every single tower on the map. It's still only a 7,000 gold lead. Also to note, YJY got himself 1,000 shut down off that kill on Dawn. So he was able to finish off his death stance. So this Aphelios is nearing 200. He's about 180 right now. He's pretty close. We'll see if they can carry back the fight. Baron was started here by Doidoy and Dawn. You can see Doidoy wants to try and finish this off. He's actually taking a little bit of damage here, so he's got to be careful. They want to try and get Kanji over to the side. TF ultimate is pop. Kanji does have his ultimate available. As the Twisted Fate is just used to zone, it looks like, as Rex is just going to hang on back, clear out the top wave, and in we go again. Baron Dance repeats.
Spelt has teleport. He did go back to base. Is able to find a possible teleport spot in the jungle. But LYB, again, has a lot of respect. But at the same time, Panic has to watch out for a possible commit to the Nexus. Because again, that is open, and that's the inhibitor still alive at least for Panic time to buy some time.
It's a bit of a reset. Arrow comes in. Almost lands onto her eyes. You see, though, LYB are saying, all right, well, you know what? We'll just take every inhibitor. Oh, Dawn gets that cleanse off. In goes Rex. Rex gets shut down. Mocha's ultimate is there. They're able to stall out the Aphelios. In comes Spelton. Oh, no, LYB. It can't be happening. This isn't how you do it. This isn't how it's supposed to go. As Panic Time find 3 members of LYB as they try and push in onto the base. Kanji still in bot lane.
Kanji, you see, he used Stand United, but because Rex just exploded from all the damage, it didn't pan out. Kanji is not able to save Rex in time, and LYB, unfortunately, again, they're right to have a lot of respect towards this, but Rex had no escape whatsoever when he dove towards the backside of the map, and it's going to be a 5v3 situation because Kanji, unfortunately, was left to just try to remove the inhibitor, and now Panic Time has Baron.
There you go. Panic Time now with Baron. And the other thing to note is they have so much freestanding gold on the map to still secure that for themselves. If they're able to get one more good fight and push in, they should be able to find themselves a gold lead. LYB at this point, they're kind of panicking. They kind of go, okay, I see we've kind of screwed up a little, and now we have to try and delete YJY, which in itself is going to be a tall order unless he pushes too far. But Mocha and Kanji decide otherwise. As unfortunately, this 3 duo doesn't have enough damage to actually take down a key member. They need Rex, they need Dawn nearby for that DPS to burn down this Aphelios.
And that's the thing. Panic Time survived 2 close calls where LYB had 4 men alive and had a lot of respect still towards the death timers and decided not to fully commit and take the risk of just focusing all of their auto attacks towards the Nexus. And that's what we see right now for LYB, and now they're put into an awkward position of having to fight YJY head on onto the and possibly the next dragon that PNC could acquire. And now LYB is now very fully respectful as they're trying to wait things out for Panic Time to first commit to an objective before they start. It's the complete opposite of what we've seen in game number 1 and the first few minutes of this match.
So some heavy breathing here for LYB. Inhibitors are back up now for Panic Time. On top of that, YJY does have his GA. And YJY, he's not unaccustomed to playing up against LYB before. Of course, he played with Steel Wolves back last year during the LST. Was one of the focal points for that squad. Unfortunately, wasn't able to find a lot of success because other parts of the map started to fail, but it looks like when you have something built around him, there is the potentiality for him to pop off when you need him to. Kanji going to be separated from the team, but you got to be careful if you're here for Panic Time, because look at Mocha, look at LYB. LYB say, you know what, we want to deny Ocean Soul. And that is the plan. They're willing to give up a second tower mid. But now, base is just going to get sieged in upon, and now LYB have to make this call. Are you going to go for this play? Panic Time are just running it in. LYB have to make a decision. Now the rest of the squad going to come on over. Spelt's not going to actually get stunned up by the Bard. In comes the Ash Arrow, able to find the snipe between the uprights, but they can't commit to the play. Now Kanji going a bit too far. In comes the actual aggression from Spelt's going to get stunned up immediately, and now Rex looking for the flank in the back line. You already saw ultimates being used. It's going to be the stun. In comes Australia's from Mocha to give them a little bit extra move speed. But LYB do not pull the trigger just yet. They still have to deal with the fact that YJY has a GA available.
We'll have to see whether or not Mocha starts the fight this time because Tempered Fate is available.
Flash comes out, in comes the engage from Crusho, able to find two. Dodoi needs to actually deny this, they go down low. Crusho gets taken down by Dawn, in comes Dodoi with the showstopper, in comes the rest, Hextech ultimatum. Dawn though, holds the ground on this Ashe, able to find a triple. YJY trying to do the same, it is a DPS for a DPS. Rex is able to find the kill, and now YJY, he stands but he falls to LYB.
What a tragic loss for Panic after surviving 2 close calls against LYB, only finding themselves in a very weird situation. They were torn. Do they want to fight? Do they want to fully commit? Others wanted to go back, but unfortunately LYB actually managed to win that fight with just 2 members out of this so far with the death timers.
And how many times have we seen that exact image before? Dawn holding ground on his Ashe, trying to fight back, able to get the DPS, and onto the Nexus it goes. LYB, it was close to falling apart, but they're now able to take home Game 2 and lead the series 2-1 heading into Match 3.
And that is, I guess, a textbook example of the third time's the charm. And of course, yes, LYB was extremely sweaty at the later portions of the match, possibly could have taken the series into a 1-1. But unfortunately, I feel like at the very last fight, Panic Time, again, Panic, they were divided. Some of them wanted to just retreat and back away, and the others wanted to fully commit, because Crusho actually managed to get a good knock-up. But again, hesitation and I guess fear from that knowledge of that could have been a win or a loss after that fight.
Yeah, we'll take another look here. It starts off with Crusho actually getting themselves good, but you see YJY, he's preoccupied. He's got the Emporium ultimate too. Like, this is prime opportunity for Panic Time. Unfortunately, Speltz, he's already taken down, and Dawn isn't touched this entire fight until he has to pop his softball. Oh.
Exactly, and it bought a lot of time, and I actually take it back of being torn. The reason why they seemed torn was because Rex and Mocha were in the back portion of the map, so they were a little bit confused on who do they want to jump head in first and eliminate, and that confusion was enough for LYB to win the match and put space for Dawn to do massive DPS against Panic Time.
And with that, Dawn going to be our MVP on the Ashe for that final play, coming in clutch when they needed to. And they're going to be feeling, I think, a sigh of relief, to say the very least. That one was a bit close for LYB, a much closer one compared to what we saw in Game 1. And now for Panic Time, it's do or die. Do you got some secret sauce picks to try and, you know, cheese away a game, keep your hopes alive? Or is it done and dusted and we're looking at a 3-0 for LYB?
Yeah, I mean, it looked like this game number 2 looked much cleaner for Panic Time and absolutely gave them more space to possibly, you know, hope for that scaling win condition for the Aphelios. But unfortunately, LYB also has been practicing, you know, that late game sort of style for themselves in the PCS. Therefore, this situation is not a stranger for them. Gotta say though, also, I forgot to mention that Ashe is like a soft counter to Trundle, and as well as the Twisted Fate. So these low mobility carries really makes it harder to reach the backline even harder because of Ashe's slow.
Yeah, so overall, I'll give it to Panic Time. They had us on the edge of our seats, and I think they had the edge of the seats of LYB as well. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, Game 3, can Panic Time begin the reverse sweep to try and force Silver Scrapes for that Game 5, or will LYB shut the door clean 3-0? Stick around.
CTBC Bank is Taiwan's top financial institution, but we're not stopping there. We're crafting an international brand and already have over 260 outlets in 14 countries. We are by your side, ready to embrace the future.
off, disappear. I'm your eraser. Ain't the cut just like a razor. Murked up in this world, my blazer. I got all the boys on me. I got all the lines on ring. Knocking dead, turning heads. I got all the eyes on me. Baby face, 걸어 들어와. 유행 선두자. 원하지만 못하잖아. 애가 타잖아. You like whoa, 갈리 you don't go. 난 알지, I know. 준비해, cause I like the ball. 멈추지 않아. 만할래, 그게 like a bag. 그거 말고 bye. 믿어봐, 그만큼 크게. 어깨 펴고 high. 100% 덤비지 못해. 죽여주잖아. 나는 boss. 간지 with the sauce. 원하면 줄게. I'm doing damage when just how I planned it. I do what I want when I say. 모든 날 따라해. 난 끝내주잖아. To live on the edge of insane. Coming at you like real, real wild. It'll light it up, set the world on fire. Gonna break rules and hearts and tools, cause that's what the baddest do. Never going back, nah, nah, that. Diamonds on drip, cause I came to make a splash. Gonna break rules and hearts and tools, cause that's what the baddest do. Crazy. Sorry for the bad news, sorry I'm so bad. Only took a minute for me to get what you had. Sorry for the bad news, no it makes you sad. There for a minute, baby, you should pack your bags. Way that I look should be breaking the law. If I don't got it, I take what I want. My circle small like a round of applause. You know that I love the sound of applause. You know I mean everything that I say. When you see me coming, get out of the way. Back in the sleigh, back and I'm better and ready to stay. I'm doing damage when just how I planned it. I do what I want when I say. 모든 날 따라해. 난 끝내주잖아. To live on the edge of insane. Crazy. Sorry, not sorry for being the best. 언제든지 내가 좀 mad. Look at the gold all on my chest. Look at the gold, call it a flex. The night beckons while you dream. A life never lives in peace. As you stand upon the edge, woven by a single thread, and fate may fall down upon you, while the devil is knocking right at your door. So are you restless? Each night you hear the drums roar. Awaken, awaken, the voice begins to call you out. You hunger, a taste of destiny you're searching for. Awaken, awaken, the fight is at your door. Take up the cause.
Until they all vanish, you know it's on. This is the life that I chose. I'm down for whatever, anything, go.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we get set for our third game of our promo relegation match between LYB and Panic Time. Already into Champion Select we go. Panic Time again opting to take blue side here, wanting that first pick. I wasn't sold on the Trundle first pick back in Game 2. We'll see, maybe they can change my mind here in Game 3 with what they want to try and go with. But you got to start looking what you got in your back pocket, because apparently when it comes to just that straight up team fight in the execution, LYB seem to have them beat.
Yeah, it looks very, very hard for Panic Time. I mean, first game, first pick Shen, and then Trundle. We'll have to see, because the not first picking set means that possibly none of them are comfy to play set. Maybe we'll have to see, as LYB is actually, or rather, Panic Time decided to remove Rex's Akali, and now they took away Kanji's Camille earlier, And we'll have to see now that they're trying to deny the set as well.
All right, so gonna take that set away. I do like it. Does mean, though, that Doi can just fall back onto the grave, so it's not the end of the world there. I like the Akali ban at the very least, though. Rex, I found, was like, he was like smurfing in the early first 20 minutes, then like some of the late game stuff, he was getting maybe a little too ambitious. Are we going to see a very early Renekton pickup, though? Likely now for Kanji coming out here from LYB in their third game.
Yeah, it has been the go-to again in general for the PCS, and again, blind pick Renekton really does well, I suppose. But now PNC is playing, though. Let's take away the strong picks into this third game. Again, it's a do-or-die situation. LYB is already at match point. Dawn is a huge problem. We'll have to see what LYB decide to pick for Dawn in general. Maybe fall back to the usual Ezreal.
All right, so let's see. Dawn not going to have that Ashe like you mentioned, so we could, like you mentioned, see the Ezreal. Let's see, though, for Panic Time, what they want to try and get in this first rotation. Are we going to see priority going back over toward just picking up a support, maybe just trying to get a safe mid lane? It appears to be the case, as that's going to be Orianna getting locked in. An easy, safe ball delivery system alongside a set. But we need to see Arise really step up, because the Orianna in the first game just wasn't able to do a whole lot, and it looks like for Dawn, we're going to see that Jhin come out as the answer in the bot lane.
What I'm worried about this Orianna pick, it just means that Panic Time is possibly sort of hoping that the situation of game number 2 would happen, where they're able to scale into the late game and possibly let the team fight determine who gets to win the entirety of the game. And we'll have to see, because LYB, this composition in general, with this Renekton pick, with this Graves pick, they completely accelerated the game, and I think that could be the worrying trend, and we could see again Arise not actually felt on that Orianna pick. In the meantime, though, removing the Wukong and now removing this Twisted Fate as well.
All right, so getting rid of that Twisted Fate away from Rex, so I wonder if, do we kind of see like the good old throwback of the PCS? Do we get to see like Rex on something like the Galio possibly here? You already shown yourself 2 pretty decent carries in the form of Doi's Graves as well as that Jhin. He might be lacking a little bit on magic damage though, but Rex isn't unaccustomed to building full AP onto the Galio, so we'll see what the case is going to be. They get rid of the Wukong and Volibear, so trying to deny some heavy dive in onto this Jhin, try and give Dawn some safety. Meanwhile, though, Panic Time, not a fan of the Bard of Mocha. Gonna go ahead and get rid of that for their final ban. And do we get to see Rex on his Zoe? It's his favorite champion, but I'm kind of hesitant when we see it locked in.
Yeah, because back in spring it produced, back in spring towards summer, I suppose it did produce a little bit of the 50-50 result. Not exactly the most consistent pick for Rex. And it's only mainly because either most of his success would actually go towards the Karma pick, which we see right now, or maybe the Twisted Fate pick. And it does help enable some of the lanes at least, but this time though, Rex is going to be on his own. And with that said, PNC having to opt against a very heavy poke bot side and actually denying that Karma away from Mocha.
All right. So that's getting locked in there. Do we get to see this Shen once more? As the Shen's kind of gotten a lot of priority from these 2 squads over the course of the first 2 games. So seeing it here in game 3, not a shock, as it is going to get locked in. Now here for LYB, though, what do they want to go with for their support? We've already seen kind of what we expected. Do we see Mocha on something like the Thresh to give a lot of kind of utility? Or do we want to see something that can try and contest up against this Karma that's going to be just outputting a bunch of poke likely from this bot lane? As it is maybe going to see this Leona, so want some hard engage here for LYB.
Yeah, it works. It sounds about right, considering the fact that they do lack another frontline, reliable frontline. So I suppose Leona for LYB does work, has very strong level 3 at least, and has a lot of good spikes from level 3 to level 6. For Panic Time though, a lot of poke to work with, and I guess a ball delivery system will be at work. You've got Revelade having to initiate first. Spelts will have that teleport or stand united in, then possibly we'll have to see whether or not the shockwave will be available. And biggest question is, will LYB allow Panic Time to reach that point of the game where they're able to get a lot of wombo combos on board? Because game number 1, we didn't see them at all.
Yeah, we weren't really able to see them, because by the time that they actually kind of came online themselves, the only time we saw a Shockwave hit more than one person was like at 16 minutes, and that was an Orianna with only a lost chapter and a tier. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage unless you have an item or two underneath the hood. So for Panic Time, like we mentioned, it's kind of do or die. And instead of going with maybe some cheese picks, maybe we would have saw the Yone. Not the case. Instead, they wanted to go with something a little bit more safe, a little bit more traditional. We'll see if they can pull it off. LYB looked pretty confident the last time they went up against this exact kind of composition. So we'll see if they're able to close out this series 3-0, or can Panic Time bring us all the way back to a possible Game 5? The question's up in the air as we load up into the Rift for our third game of the night.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
And back we are, LYB needing only one more game to requalify for the PCS. Looking to successfully defend their slot, unlike what we saw from Resurgence yesterday that was brought all the way to a Game 5 and fell at the last moment. Panic Time. Yeah, you need to pull something out here. We didn't get to see anything too crazy in the draft. Seeing a lot of cleanses, though. Respecting the fact that there is a Leona and a Zoe on the other squad. I'm afraid if we're just going to see, though, LYB just kind of run away with this, kind of similar to what we saw in Game 1, especially with Doidoi on something as aggressive that was that Graves.
Yeah, and I think the different factor this time around is that PNC has a sort of oppressive lane with a lot of poke in the form of this Ashe and as well as the Karma. So hopefully they're not, especially you're up against a support melee matchup, I suppose. So having to poke, make sure to put Mocha and Dawn in an awkward HP position for LYB to be a little bit hesitant to redo what they've done in game number 1, which is to keep diving. And PNC at least has control of the lane, unlike perhaps game number 1.
I saw their deep ward coming out onto Relevate, but he actually kind of went for a little bit of a weirder path there, so he's actually been able to avoid that ward that was laid down by LYB early in the match. So they don't really know exactly where this set is going to appear right off the bat. They kind of have an idea. Maybe he started on the top side of the map. You see Kanji actually already putting down a ward, saying, all right, maybe set's going to be up here soon. We'll see whether or not that's going to be the case as Doidoi looking to path over toward the bot side of the map here on the Graves early on.
Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to the laning phase, early game-wise for Revelate on the set. Not a lot of options for you to try to gank, but maybe try to counter-gank for any sort of punish that Doidoi has done since game number 1. And I think that is the option of hoping the scale, again, hoping that game number 2 can happen on where they actually went past the 30-minute mark for both of these teams. But for LYB, hoping to see whether or not they can accelerate this. They do have the tools to do so. They've got a bully, which is, again, Kanji here on this Renekton, and as well as Mocha with a lot of hard engage to deal with. And Rex, on his own, could see the first gank of the game, though. Maybe?
Maybe. Doidoi is nearby. You need Mocha, though, to land that Zenith Blade, and they are kind of telegraphing that they are playing a little bit back, so we'll see. YJY maybe wants to get in the action. They have to deal with that cleanse, though, so the real only person they can go on to is pretty much... Oh, Relevate. He's going to get caught out here by Doidoi. Spotted this out, so it's a nice counter gank into the W coming out from the Jhin. Some shielding, though, from Relevate will keep him alive as he's able to path back.
I think that is the issue, I suppose. Relevate can be kited so easily by this Graves counter matchup. But then again, engage-wise, if done together, because Panic Time, again, their team synergy will have to be tested against having to survive into this series and possibly make it to the silver scrapes that we saw yesterday between Impunity and Resurgence. But so far, though, as long as PNC is able to slow the game down, they have a pretty good chance, again, in sort of turning things around.
See, Doidoi's still wanting to path down toward this bot side. He wants to try and get pressure, but it kind of is being slowed here. So we're not seeing the heavy aggression like we saw in the first game where we were seeing Doidoi try and go for that early dive, which, again, you're going up against a Karma. Karma dives are rather risky just because of that shielding that comes through, and instead just says, all right, I'll take what I can of this mid lane. As Arai is getting pushed in by Rex early here on this Zoe.
Extremely hard with how much range Rex has in comparison to Arise. And of course, earlier on as an Orianna, if you don't have your tier first, you will have mana problems having to match the clear of Rex over here. So therefore, Rex having a comfortable lane state at least, so Dodoy is freely having to freely move around the map and maybe Shadow Revelate as well.
Well, instead just trying to force him out, as Dodoy, confident as always, it seems. There's no camps really to fight over on this side of the map other than Wolves, so he just says, okay, bye. Gray's going to go head on back to base, picks up a longsword, feeling pretty happy. And it's a quiet early game compared to what we saw of Game 1. Game 2, kind of fitting the same kind of template, it seems. As, again, Speltz isn't necessarily on a champion that's going to be going for solo kills on the Renekton, so we're not going to be seeing that Wukong-esque playstyle we saw in Game 1. And unless Rex is able to get some good bubble combos, not going to see a whole lot of kill pressure in that mid lane just yet.
Yeah, I think it's quite the opposite of what we saw in both games in the series because, yeah, it's like Speltz is there just to try and neutralize and make sure he's safe in the lane. Arise is just hoping to scale. And because of so many cleanses, that's denying a lot of full-on aggression. So LYB has to penetrate that first barrier, I suppose, to be able to secure kills here and there. And that's the reason why we see a more peaceful state of the game in comparison to 1 and number 2.
Yeah. Other than, you know, the heavy chaotic style and just having these cleanses as well as a karma, you just kind of sit and wait if you're LYB at this point, which, to be fair, isn't too bad. You're kind of waiting for that Jhin once he hits that super late game where you're getting, you know, the one shots down. Sometimes for the poor Ashe, it's not usually a fun time. It's going to put a lot of pressure here on Cresho to be keeping his team alive. They also have spells, so they're going to have a lot of shielding for this Ashe. It's going to be hard to burn down YJY, similar to while he was on the Aphelios, but again, you're not going to see that like 200 years come out as Dodoy. Okay, observers were kind of hinting that there was somebody in that bush, so I was kind of afraid, but it's just clearing out his camps.
Yeah, I think the approach to Panic Time's approach to the game itself for LYB, at least they saw that YJY can carry. Is as long as they're able to put enough resources to him. The problem is from game number 2, you got Speltz on a Camille who also is sort of feast or famine kind of deal. So that now the plan is to, okay, a lot of shields. Orianna, you've got Cresho here, you've got as well as Speltz. So make sure to keep him alive, and that's their win condition. So as long as the game slows down, and so far though, 10 minutes into the game seems slow enough for Panic Time to celebrate a little bit so far.
When did Dawn use his flash though? Did we just not see that? Dawn used his flash like a minute and a half ago. I don't know how. Meanwhile, top of Kanji, I might be able to get some damage here, but Spelt's just going to walk away. Doesn't even have to burn his flash. Maybe trying to force him back as he just did get that recall off and get the teleport back in. Meanwhile, bot side of the map, LYB, they say, all right, you know what? We'll just go ahead and take first dragon, and they get themselves on the board objective-wise.
Yeah, whenever Dawn used his flash is when Ignite was used, and Heal was used as well onto Cresho,
oh, no.
So...
Oh, no. Oh,
yeah.
boy.
Oh, no.
Don't tell me. The finals week makes me scared, okay? So I'm just getting some word. It does appear it was just a mic issue, so we should be getting into the game quite shortly. It just appears to be a mic issue. Once I get a little bit of an update for you guys, we'll get ourselves back into our promo relegation match, of course, between LYB and Panic Time. Panic Time currently on the brink of defeat, as LYB only need the one game here left out of the 3 yet left to be played, that they'll be able to continue to keep their slot within the PCS come 2021. Panic Time need to pull off the reverse sweep if we want to see them actually enter as those fresh new faces from the Philippines.
Exactly, fresh new faces versus fresh new faces for LYB as well. Again, it's not the usual LYB trying to defend their throne as veterans. Again, this is a different new generation of LYB where you've got, again, Kanji and Doi. You got Rex, who is also considered a rookie as a Korean import, and as well as Dawn, who came from 1UP. So basically, Dawn is fighting some of his old friends in this current roster of Panic Time, and therefore, again, new generation against another. So very exciting to see, but LYB, again, because of their experience, it's really showing how dominant they've managed to deal with this series, and it's very, very hard for Panic Time at the moment, but it looks stable, at least so far in the early game.
Yeah, we're seeing some kind of tempered aggression come out of LYB. Game 1 was a bit chaotic, to say the very least, but they were able to thrive within it. Game 3 here, we're kind of getting into it kind of feels like we're watching a Machi versus PSG game, at least before finals, before, you know, Machi came in and just gave him the slap right there and there. Yeah. I'm interested to see what LYB are going to try and do during this early game, because we like we mentioned, we kind of want to see them try and do something before that Orianna kind of comes online, before that Ashe gets 1 or 2 items, because that's going to be kind of the point where they're going to be able to out-damage a bit of LYB and kind of deal with some of that burst, so we'll see here. I do have word that we're going to be getting into the game quite shortly. They fixed out the mic, so we should be getting back onto the Rift here before... we won't be going to a break here, hopefully.
Unlike, yes, last weekend.
Don't
but yeah, I
remind
think I will remind everybody. But
all right.
But yeah, I think it's fine though, at least. But yeah, Panic Time, test of team synergy, whether or not they're able to deal the wombo combo, because for LYB, they have a lot of single target damage and as well as CC to work with. Therefore, YJY has to be a little bit more careful, because there's so many answers to this single damage threat of Panic Time's roster. But then again, still can't count out Arises once Orianna is able to scale up. Then killer shockwaves can be expected, although game number 1 is that basis of Arises' performance. Hopefully he's able to exceed expectations.
Like, he hit like 1 or 2 good shockwaves. But like we mentioned, they were early on in the game where LYB were kind of just throwing their bodies at Panic Time, and they didn't really do a whole lot of damage. It kind of slowed them down. That was pretty much it. Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed that no teams over the last 2 days, they didn't bring out the Yone. I was waiting for it.
It's open, yeah.
It's open. I guess we just don't get to see it till next year. There was the one possible competitive match that could have happened before Worlds that could have had Yone be picked up, but...
You guys had Kha'Zix yesterday, though. You guys had Kha'Zix yesterday.
We had some fun
and
picks still. Yeah, the Kha'Zix was fun. We also saw, like, we saw a lot of things we didn't want to see that game. All right? That match there was not pretty in some instances. You saw that draft, which only had a Blitzcrank for CC, all right? It wasn't necessarily what you'd call optimal League of Legends. You do hear the Graves, though, in the background. That means we're back in onto the Rift. As, like we mentioned, no one has struck first when it comes to the kills. Dragons in favor of LYB. But a little bit of a calm before the storm, it seems, here, before the heat really gets turned up.
Yeah, I mean, the cleanses actually speak for itself. It just means they're throwing in the gauntlet. Let's just probably fight later, 5v5s. But we'll have to see, because if that is the case, if fights are sort of not possible, then it's going to be a fight of objective control, whoever is building towards that Dragon Soul win condition. So far though, LYB has 1 point early onto that Earth Drake.
Okay, we just mentioned, Rex, that as long as you didn't get caught out by the Shockwave, you'd be okay. And there was a Karma nearby, but there just wasn't a whole lot of damage. Meanwhile though, the set from Panic Time is going to go ahead and start up the Rift Herald here. Doidoi is nearby, is caught out by a ward, so if Panic Time want to, they can set up a trap of their own. Is Doidoi going to get caught out here? Facebreaker into the snare, and Doidoi's got nowhere to run. First blood going on over to Panic Time.
Beautiful execution by Panic Time there, with Crusher just hiding under the brush and just catching Doidoi off guard. And I mean, I get why Doidoi was comfortable, because Rex had priority in the mid lane, but he was nowhere near. And again, execution would be very swift, no escape whatsoever. Doidoi did not even use the flash there. And again, easy first blood for Panic Time.
It's a nice, easy, and clean. The vision going down there for Panic Time ends up helping out. And poor Doidoi gets to be a little bit... Did they steal this? They stole it! Are you serious, Rex? Oh my god. That shouldn't happen, Panic Time. That shouldn't happen. Oh boy.
That is... I mean, they already managed to kill Doidoi, no jungler, and... I mean, Rex is able to get that smite at least. Dear.
Bot lane, there you go. That's the cleanse being used. So now YJY not able to get rid of that CC if it does come on. A nice grenade also landing in on there. And no heal for Cresho means there's less safety, so they could possibly look at a dive here onto YJY.
Yeah, great job by LYB. And again, Mocha still having that Solar Flare available to be used for the dive. YJY dangerously low, Cresho no heal. This is the formula for success. You also have Revelate at the top side of the map, but Cresho having that advanced vision on towards the Krugs doesn't matter because...
Current call may dispel the doom as in goes Mocha aggressively for shock and a land. Oh, Mocha's at least able to finish off the kill. Rex gonna come nearby. In comes that arrow, not able to land it on the spells. Dodoy going down forward though. Wants to go for YJY. Dawn flashing on forward. Can't finish off the kill. Dodoy is there. Dual shockwave though comes out from Arise. Meanwhile though, Rex was able to find the kill. Dawn nowhere to run. The double kill to the Orianna, the chaos in bot lane, and what did I say? You don't dive with the Graves, it never goes well. And Panic Time able to trade equally 1-for-1. Meanwhile, top lane, Kanji ends up popping the Dominus as Relevate was looking for the play, unable to finish off the kill though.
And I mean, that is the game plan for Panic Time. You still have, if your cleanse is down, you still have spells at the bottom side of the map to just stand united and hopefully be able to slow down the deaths that LYB just wanted to get. And they're able to eliminate Cresho right off the bat from that aftershock. But YJY is still able to get that arrow down. Is there another fight? I
think
thought
they were expecting Kanji to get caught out. I was too. I was expecting maybe Cresho to at least try and get the snare there to at least force out the flash, but nonetheless, it is going to be Kanji getting himself back to safety. LYB may be positioning for a play here. Lots of pings coming out. Teleport is available for Kanji, so Mocha and Dodoy could look for the dive. They would have to path through the tower. Kanji, teleport there, goes for the stun immediately. Speltz, though, able to actually stop that because it is an auto attack modifier. So he was able to dodge away. We'll see, though. Mocha's going to show. They're just going to soak up the wave. Now Speltz kind of realizing he's in a bit of trouble. In comes that stun once more. There's the damage rolling on through, and it should be the kill. Oh, Kanji going down low. But Dodoy is able to finish off the kill. Kanji gets himself back to safety.
Yeah, I mean, Speltz played that really, really well. If Kanji did not flash, he would have soaked maybe one more tower hit, and therefore could have been a 1-for-1 trade. But at least Flash is baited out, and Kanji is able to escape at least off of that. And now the big question is, what does Panic Time exchange off of that? And the answer is another dragon for themselves, making it, again, a 1-for-1 even trade off of objectives for Panic Time.
Oh boy, Dawn, are you going to get dove here? What is with the Ocean Souls this match? This is
I
our
know.
third one in a row. I'm like, come on, give me Infernal. Don't do it, Mocha. Oh, please don't do it. Oh, this is doomed. This is so doomed. It's cursed, Mocha. You did it blind. Why did you go in blind, Mocha? He's able to stall this out a little bit longer, but he'll get taken down. He doesn't have Flash available, and it's going to be a quick and easy pickup there for Panic Time.
What is happening? I mean, I get the idea for Mocha hoping to blast cone and then attack YJY and Cresho at the bot side of the map for a little bit of a pincer attack, but without any sort of information, without any sort of vision, that is quite unfortunate, and that has cost you, and therefore another additional kill in the pockets of Panic Time. That's the second time that happened too. Dodoy in game number 2 actually used to blast cone blindly as well, so a little bit loose when it comes to LYB's early game.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what Mocha was thinking there. He's like, I'm going to get this cheeky little swing off the blast cone. Ends up not panning out well. But yeah, there's just no vision. Okay. Okay, even if...
Zero vision.
I guess they thought, okay, Dodoy's coming down, Rex is coming down. There's a chance, so maybe that was what was going through Mocha's head. Maybe not expecting, hey, they stuck around for like 20 seconds after the dragon was taken. That's a fair assumption. But it does end up costing LYB a kill. Still though, LYB with a solid gold lead of about 2,000.
Yeah, still in the lead, considering that it was all due to the platings. Rise was almost down there. Dang. Rex a lot of damage with the Ludens and Sword Boots completed.
Close. Rex, though, not able to finish off the kill. Arise also still holding on to that flash, not end of the world. Dodoy, though, gonna come on over. Did they ever use the Rift Herald? I think they did during a replay. I would hope they did. Or was it just denied there by Panic Time? We didn't actually get to see over the end of the replay. Nonetheless, it's going to be second tower taken by LYB, opening up still about that 4,000 gold lead in their favor.
Yeah, possibly used in the mid lane here, as or maybe a top side, as 9 plates have been achieved by LYB and 0 for Panic Time. So very unfortunate on that time window when the plates are up. In the meantime, though, for LYB, just as you mentioned, they do have the early gold lead, but we'll have to see where they transition that as towers are slowly falling in favor of LYB here, starting in mid and as well as top.
And there we are. LYB also, go ahead, get that second Rift Herald. Get that on over to Kanji. He's going to be just happy. Ah, yes, Kanji picked it up last time, so that does explain why his turret was taken down so early in the game. So they'll have a second one, I guess, to just push and hope to try and push in this Shen a little bit more. As at the moment, Spelt still kind of holding on to what he can. No completed item just yet to the Bork that is completed here for Kanji.
Yeah, I think that is, speaking of Kanji, I think that is the unfortunate part. Towards Spelts? Okay, Arise is fine. Anyway.
Arise? What? Why did you go back into it? What? Okay. Arise, I have many questions. You confused me so much I mispronounced the name. Rex gets a free kill. All right.
Yeah,
not sure what happened there. What? Why did you go back into the bubble? Oh boy, here comes that set though down in toward the bot lane. It's going to be just that quick phase breaker. No, he gets blown up before he can do anything else. In comes the solar flare. Double target. Decent damage for shot. Not going to find it though onto the Karma. And back we go. The dive here for LYB continues as Rex looking for his target. Not able to find it, but YJY gets stunned up. It's going to be the Shen ultimate having to be used. But that is going to be not available. Meanwhile, top lane, in comes that big Shelly. And it's going to be a second tier tower taken here by Kanji.
I was going to say, before Arise has achieved his demise earlier, I was going to say that whenever Spelt has to use Stand United to save bot lane, you're giving up top side, you're giving it up for Kanji to just keep pushing on the board. I think maybe Arise sort of underestimated the expiry timer of that trouble bubble and therefore assumed that it was already expiring and just walked right in. It's unfortunate because they were a man down on towards this engage, but Panic Time still committed to this fight.
Oh boy. And like that, it kind of just snowballs from there. As unfortunately, we didn't get to see the collapse come through, as you're the ones doing the collapse last time were that Orianna and that set. It's just easily done there. So, for Panic Time, they do secure themselves another cheeky dragon. That's going to be Teleport, though, coming out from Kanji, looking for that quick
Revelate.
Oh, Revelate gets caught out. Going to use the showstopper as long as he could, but Kanji picks up the kill.
I gasped there because Revelate had the option to commit to the port back to base, but he canceled it, flashed out of the pit, and then showstoppered. And unfortunately, okay, they're starting to fight.
Rex goes down low, but Kanji's onto the back line. And for LYB, it's starting to go more and more in their favor. For Panic, it's starting to set in at this point. In comes your Solar Flare. Kanji low, he gets taken down. Rex over the wall, finds his target though. In comes the curtain call. And curtains might be called for this series, as that's going to be a double kill coming out from Rex as well. And the inhibitor tower going to be starting to be taken. Yeah, I do the same there. YJY, it's now a 9,000 gold lead, and you have to ask, how did we even get here? As LYB take down the inhibitor tower before the 20-minute mark.
And the thing about it was fight after fight after fight in the bottom side of the map, and honestly, YJY cannot catch a break here. And again, LYB has been taking the fight to the bot side of the map. Good double shockwave, but at this point, Orianna is not going to do a lot of damage, and therefore is only just there for the set, or maybe a disengage. But this is a very scattered fight, and unfortunately, if you don't have your carry alive, not a lot of consistent DPS to offer into the fight.
So a bit rough to say the least here for Panic Time. What looks like a rather close game 2. We've now come to this game 3. And LYB is starting to look very similar to what we saw during our game 1. A massive gold advantage. Though kills don't really scream there's a massive gold advantage. The objectives all in favor of LYB outside of the 2 dragons that were taken by Panic Time, which, again, a silver lining to an otherwise not great situation. And a lot of those opportunities for this team to come back in, you're hoping for some big wombo combos. You're hoping you can catch out Dawn as well as Rex at the same time. But Rex, he looks like he's back on form to what we had hoped to see during the regular season. And with this, LYB should be able to slowly start choking down onto Panic Time with Vision. And this should be a closed out game 3.
Exactly, it looked really promising when we saw Speltz's double solo kill on towards Kanji. You've got game number 2 who is able to, well, PNC is able to slow things out and get a very 50-50 match on having to rely on YJY. And now we see LYB having full control at the first 50 minutes of the game, even putting YJY into a corner on where Panic Time is not able to get, again, the 5v5s that they so desire because Kanji...
Come down there, Mr. Set, and as Mocha just gets that stun done. He was thinking about going for it, but instead pops the current call. In comes Kanji over toward the side alongside Doidoi, and they're able to find themselves decent damage. 4 shot. Not enough to take him down. Collateral damage, he was pretty late there from Doidoi. Maybe he didn't realize that the kill wasn't finished down, and that is going to be the cleanse also coming out from Arise. And a quick back coming out here from LYB as they take down the 2nd tier tower and now look toward the Baron.
They're not started here because Rex was doing Zoe things and Panic Time was like, okay, we're done with that and we just can't replicate what we did in game number 1 where again we are doing 1-3-1 while they're just 3. Let's try to outnumber them. But unfortunately, because they are behind, they didn't have enough damage to finish off the kill and punch Rex. And now, oh dear, Revelate could be in trouble. LYB actually has full control of the Baron.
There you go. LYB able to claim the first Baron of game 3. Now with that in their pocket, should be able to start cracking into the base fully of Panic Time. And just looking to close this out. We want to see LYB now in a prime position to close out this game. I'm not a big fan of the double Black Cleaver on the top side of the map. Note to the shopkeeper. Would like to see Glaive come out from Doidoi, but hey, nonetheless, they're ahead. You can't blame them if they're already winning. As it looks like we'll get to take a quick look at the attempt coming out here from Panic Time. Or is this just Rex blowing up? Oh, it's just Rex blowing up. Arise, okay.
It's probably Arise getting blown up.
Rex, he could have smited. He wanted to save the smite for the Baron. Is this just
Most
Rex
likely.
just flexing on everyone? Okay, it's just Rex getting a little bit too aggressive. Okay.
Could be getting caught out. He's a slippery Zoe, but yeah, Arise, unfortunately. I mean, fortunately, he's able to live. Scorch, not enough. Able to sort of get the regen, at least from the pots. In the meantime, though, LYB, even though Panic Time is able to get in exchange objectives later on, now LYB can strong arm their way into objectives, not only to the Baron, but also to the Dragon. And now, it's back to the usual. Arrow will not hit.
Arrow won't hit. You're waiting for that next minion wave. Bot lane needs to kind of be pushed in. LYB, their wave management is a little bit iffy. Oh my. Oh no! Rise, you're gonna want that one back, mate. That one hurt, to say the least.
I mean, I see the logic because Zoe's a little bit telegraphed after the portal. You just set the ball there as Rex's goes back, but it didn't work out. And now, that's a shockwave that will not be available on this push.
All right, Rex, gonna get caught out, but in comes that re-engage, and now, unfortunately, for that jungle of Panic Time, the flash has to be used. In comes the current call once more. And this is the aggression. This is what we expect here of LYB as they now look to start sieging in onto Nexus Towers. All 5 members of Panic Time are up. You gotta make the decision to make a stand. You gotta make the call. Arise does not have Shockwave is the issue, so they can't look for a proper engage. They don't have Burst. And LYB are going to one by one pick apart this base of Panic Time. And another reset likely to come in. Rex does have teleport, so he'll be joining back into the fight any moment. Triple in him down. And we say, when is Panic Time going to make this decision? When are they going to say, we are going to hold for our base? Are they just going to let LYB walk in continuously with this Baron buff now still up? Another teleport coming in from Kanji. YJY goes down low. Mocha on the call, wants to go on in. Kanji himself, a two-man shockwave, but still not enough damage. And unfortunately, Panic Time, you waited too damn long, because LYB will slowly but surely take the base and re-qualify for the PCS. As Panic Time, challengers they may be, they were not able to repeat the success that they saw of the Singapore qualifier yesterday. One new face will join us, one will remain old, as that spells the end here for the PCS 2020, as LYB secure their slot to next year.
Yeah, complete dominance over the whole series with a 3-0 finish. And LYB fans will rejoice to see them again come PCS 2021.
Get to hold on a little bit. Got a little bit scary there in game 2. But it's a 3-0 for the current squad from the PCS. A little bit more experience, you could say. A little bit more coordinated. And in the end, they were able to take home the victory. So again, congratulations over to the squad of LYB. They're able to defend their slot. They get to rest easy now during this postseason. Say, all right, we're still in the league. Don't have to worry about anything. They get to sleep easy with that 3-0 coming in a clean sweep here in the series.
Yes, and they've made a huge statement as well, since I think the fans were divided into the PCS when it comes to the Philippine slot, and now they've managed to make a statement, prove them wrong, and now get to retain their slot towards the PCS into 2020.
Yeah, I know Cabbage as well will be pretty happy, able to find the victory there. I know there was a lot of nerves coming into this matchup in particular, but they were able to find themselves their groove that they were able to find a couple times during the regular season. Okay, there's our actual audio for the abilities. I was just hearing a bunch of different voices from the champions. But yeah, at this point, the game's already done. At this point, LYB have themselves an 8K gold advantage. You can't really do anything if you're Panic Time. You need that all-miracle wombo combo. But it just never came up, and it never happened, and it never took place over the course of these 3 games.
Yeah, LYB has sort of just fully focused on the bottom side of the map because, you know, Spouts was on a Shen and Arise was on a Ariana, and the rest basically is resting their hands on towards YJY, and LYB just basically focused on them. And Rex has really created a lot of havoc on this game number 3.
Rex on his Zoe. What a way to finish off your season, you could say here for Rex. Loves the champion to death, and we get to see him at proper form on the champion. We weren't seeing, you know, him getting kind of bullied around non-stop. Instead, was able to find his footing, find himself the 6-0-4 record. And that's how you close out your season for LYB. So now back to the drawing board for the Panic Time players. Maybe can try and get into some of the lower systems there. Maybe can try and get to the trainee of LYB if they want to try and make a shot toward PCS. But their quest doesn't end necessarily here, but their journey, at least in 2020, ends now.
Yeah, I mean, these are well-experienced players from the collegiate scene and as well as towards the semi-pro scene. And while they did have a history of having to defeat LYB in numerous occasions, today was not that day.
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen.
It does happen.
A re-summary if you just joined us. It was a quick night. It was LYB taking home a 3-0 over Panic Time to reclaim their slot in the PCS. They are able to represent the Philippines once more when it comes to the next year in 2021. And we're hoping you guys will be able to join them and watching in on the action so you guys can continue to support your squads. Of course, though, don't be forgetting to be supporting our PCS squads that made it up on over to Worlds. Bachi and PSG, they actually just landed over in Shanghai today. So they're going to be doing their quarantine, and then you guys can cheer them on both in the play-ins and during the group stage. If you guys want to see the PCS perform well, which we do. We want to see our boys do well up on the international stage. And we know you guys are some of the most passionate fans when it comes to regions across the board. So we hope we get to hear you guys' voice either in those chats or online. Be sure to tell us how you guys are celebrating Worlds when you get to it. But of course, from me and Riku, this was our final cast of the year when it comes to the PCS. So we do hope that you guys enjoyed our coverage over the course of this year, and we hope you also enjoyed the Brizz's coverage joining us here in summer. It was always a treat to have him on air. And of course, Riku, it was a treat to have you, even though we were remote for a majority of this season. It was still great getting to work today.
Yeah, same here. It was a complete honor starting from spring up until summer. And yeah, excited to cheer for our boys of PSG Talent as well as Matcha Esports come Worlds. And I can't believe Worlds is starting this month.
Yeah, Worlds, it's coming up. That draw show, I believe, is like in about a week. So you guys we get to hope for our draws to go well. If you are a PCS fan, you're like, all right, who are we getting? Who we need to get into this play-ins? We hope it can actually happen. But yeah, it was an exciting year, and we're glad you guys were able to join us on this whole brand new adventure. Of course, PCS being a brand new merged league can only grow from here, and we hope you guys can join us along that journey and hope to support the region when it comes to the international stage, as well as joining us when we come back. Of course, that's going to be next season, next split. We'll see how that all pans out, and we'll see who's going to be joining us here or there. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride so far, especially for the SEA or LST fans. As again, even though we've seen signs of life from, I guess, Nova Resurgence. Yeah, it has been a wonderful journey still up until this.
A wonderful journey that has to come to an end. And with that, thank you all for tuning in to the 2020 season of the PCS. Like we mentioned, support our boys over at Worlds Machi PSG. Congratulations to LYB to defending their PCS slot, and congratulations over to Beauty for joining us in the league next year when it comes to 2021. We hope you guys enjoyed the show. We hope you guys enjoyed the action. See you next time.